This is Papa Smurf. You're listening to Our Lifestyle, the podcast, with ODB and the Mayor.
Try to be best, cause you're only a man, and a man's gotta learn to take it. Try to believe, though the going gets rough, that you gotta hang tough to make it. History repeats itself, try and you'll succeed. Never doubt that you're the one, and you can have your dreams. Cover this around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Cover this around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Cover this.
Yo, it's Our Lifestyle, the podcast, episode 165. Happy New Year. It's 2020, the first episode of the new year. But first off, we got Miggity Mike, the Mayor. He's, what are you, Mike?
In the house.
It's going down for real, man. So thanks for everyone for rocking with us. Mike, just kind of first off, wanted to say to all of those down under in Australia, thoughts and prayers go out to you guys. I don't think many of us have even realized the impact with all the wildfires going on. I'm seeing a lot of it on Twitter, and I know it's a very devastating thing. A lot of the country's burning, so thoughts and prayers are with you guys, and just want to kind of throw that out there, Mike, as we get started. But just want to kind of ask you, man, how's it going?
Dude, life is good. Cannot complain. And I'm just glad that holiday rush, holiday season is over. It was one hell of a busy holiday season. That's for damn sure.
Yes, it definitely was. And we want to kind of start off here and say with, as we kind of move into the episode, we've got the best of 2019. Now, we're not scheduled for a guest. We may bring in Brad with the excursion. Real good dude. He went on a lot of travels this year, so we'll talk possibly to him. If we end up doing some audio, we'll include it on this episode. We had planned to kind of sync up with him because he went to a lot of shows in that excursion. Many of the shows he rolled solo. And Mike will also kind of reinforce that this podcast is brought to you by our friends at Sparkles Detail and the team at Custom Car Show Productions, which includes Orange Beach Invasion. You can type in Orange Beach Invasion on Instagram or Facebook to find out more information. It's simple. If you look at our posts, you'll see that we tag Orange Beach Invasion on Instagram. And again, it's going down in the Gulf Coast area, of course, in Orange Beach, Alabama, and that's March 13th through the 15th. We hope to see you guys out there. It's a beautiful venue, and we cannot wait. Miggity Mike, the Mayor, and myself, Mrs. Mayor, and Mrs. ODB will be out there, won't we, Mike?
You know it, brother, and definitely excited for that one.
Realer than real deal, Holyfield. So let's jump right in, Mike. So you kind of mentioned a couple of things there kind of at the top. And, it was a busy holiday season, and that kind of just brings us right to, the Happy New Year to everyone, which I kind of mentioned earlier. But, Mike, we didn't necessarily take last week off. I mean, there's still a lot of planning that goes into the podcast, a lot of notes and a lot of research and things like that. So we kind of just said, hey, we're taking, the week off from an audio show perspective because we're getting back in the catbird seat. But, how was your New Year's and Christmas and all that stuff? I know we talked a little bit about Christmas, but I guess let's focus more on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Well, it was absolutely, man, we had a great time. Me, Mrs. Mayor, Little Mayor, and Mrs. Mayor's sister and her boyfriend. We actually took the boat out, went out on the water, went out to Fort Myers Beach, and sat out there and watched the fireworks out on the water in the boat, and it was absolutely beautiful. First we ate down there in Fort Myers Beach, had some actually really good Mexican food, and then we went out and we chilled out on the water, and with the I think there was like 1,000 other boats out there, so 1,000 other of our closest friends and family out there on the water. It took us about 2 hours to get back to the dock, but hey, we did it, and we had a damn good time.
Well, it sounds like a nice little adventure, man, kicking off the new year. I know you guys like to try to get out and do some things, and you also do pretty good putting down your phones when you do those, huh?
Well, there was no pictures, there was no videos, none of that crap. So, yeah, we were kind of on a boat, and so it really wasn't time to for the book face or the Insta.
Yeah, for real. And I've been doing a better job, at least in my mind, trying to disconnect at certain times, especially like when we're at dinner and things like that. And some of you guys might go, oh, well, we've been doing that for a while. Well, some of us are, yeah, and I've mentioned this over the course of this podcast in the last 4.5 years, we are addicted to our devices, so to speak. And it, luckily with the new Florida law kind of really going into that second phase effect with the whole texting and driving, I think it was like a multi-phase where they did say, hey, texting and driving is illegal, but they weren't basically pulling people over, so to speak. And not to say that I am a texter and driver. I've never done that. But it's kind of just making me think more about, hey, you got to disconnect, whether it's a dinner table or, just, all those different type of situations. I don't know if you guys ever have that anxiety. Like if we went to a movie recently, family movie, we saw the newer rock movie, Jumanji. And the second one, it was kind of like, in the movie, it's, a couple hours long and you're going, okay, I put my Apple Watch on theater mode where it, it doesn't make the noise and it doesn't light up. That's real simple. And then, okay, the phone is in my pocket and stuff, but it's like, I'm going, okay, man, am I missing something or whatever? So, we just all have to learn to disconnect, and me included.
Absolutely. And actually, Mrs. ODB, I think you've been out with, or I'm sorry, Mrs. Mayor, which my wife, she pretty much, when we're at dinner, there are no phones at dinner.
Yeah. She's good about that.
Yeah, she's very good about that. So she makes sure when it's family time, we're actually, enjoying the family instead of being on our phones.
Yeah, she does great with that. But, well, cool, man. Just wanted to kind of ask you there. Mine overall was good. I mean, really kind of the same type of stuff. Luckily, the wife had New Year's Day off, so we were able to kind of just do some family stuff. There's, of course, everything from football to whatnot. Now, it's kind of funny, and this will kind of lead into, 2020, but, it's always pretty simple to figure out, like, okay, so Christmas and New Year's this year, Mike, was on Wednesday, right?
Middle of the week, hump day.
Middle of the week. So, naturally, if, I don't know if your brain works like this, but, like, my brain goes, okay, so next year, it's going to be on the next day, right? It kind of moves
yeah.
with the calendar. So you would go, oh, okay, Christmas is going to be on Thursday. New Year's Day will be on Thursday. But that's not correct. It's going to be on Friday. You know why?
Leap year.
It's leap year, man. It's leap year. And my wife blew my mind like a week ago. She's like, no, it's on Friday. And I'm scratching my head going, now what? Like, what am I missing here? And I was like, oh, it's 2020. Every 4 years they have leap year. And growing up, I had a buddy, Caleb. His brother was actually born, I think his name was Jacob. His brother was actually born on leap day, February 29th. So we've got one more day this year to get shit done on our trucks, don't we? Or our project, so to speak.
Is that actually going to help, Jay? Is it really
hey, man,
help?
you got to squeeze everything. I remember one time Brett Favre got hurt for the Packers, and I was like, okay, this is best case scenario. It was a noon their time, a 1:00 game. Then it was the next week they had a bye, and then the following week they actually played on Monday night. And I was like, all right, so that it was like he had the most amount of time to recover, and of course he did come back, part of that long streak. But you got to count all those minutes, all those seconds. It really helps, man.
If you say so.
At least in my mind. So.
The way I look at it, if you ain't going to get it done, you ain't going to get it done regardless if you got one day or an extra day or not. Well,
love that motto. You'll sometimes see the meme where it says, yesterday you said today. And I always think about that, when I'm going, I don't want to change the light sockets in my house. My wife's kind of on me, you got to, we bought the white ones, want to switch them up. And I'm going, and I'm like, wait a minute, yesterday I said today, so I need to get off my ass and knock it off the list and be done with it. So that's my motto in 2020, just get the shit done.
Yes, sir.
So as we move in, we're going to talk on this episode about the best of 2019. You guys saw the title, more than likely. You've seen the cover art for it. We have a lot to talk about relating to the year. But first off, we're going to talk about the last episodes. Normally we talk about the last episode, but Mike, when we synced up 2 weeks ago, we talked a little bit about, I think it was 162. So since then, we've had 163 and 164. We had Mark Larkin from Down Under, talking about the wildfires, of course. One of our listeners and followers and fellow Negative Camber member, if you will, from a scene standpoint. He's in that awesome club. And then we had the Mini Garage crew from Portland, Oregon area. Of course, the family, if you will. So, Mike, anything that stood out to you about those episodes?
Well, first of all, Mr. Larkin, definitely like his accent. And he probably thinks that we talk weird and we talk with an accent, but man, that's a cool little sounding accent right there. And it sounds like they got a nice little tight niche group over there. And also learned that they're really not close to anything over there in Australia. It seems like they got to drive pretty damn far anytime and every time they go to a damn show.
Yeah, it's a big continent, that's for sure.
And the guy is full of energy, and I was just like, damn, this guy is just full of it, man. And he's definitely a happy-go-lucky dude, and it was good to hear him. It was good to hear it come across the podcast, and as always, I always enjoy the stories. And of course, he brought up Jasmine Green, and she is absolutely killing it on that truck of hers over there, and we definitely got to have her back on again, and give us some updates on the truck. Of course, if you're not checking her out when she posts up her videos, and I know we were talking about Mark here, but and of course he's got a badass truck too. But he, like I said, he brought up Jasmine, and that fucking truck she's doing is badass. So another stellar interview, and definitely a good listen for sure.
It definitely was. And, the Mini Garage crew was cool that they came on. And, I knew there was a little bit of risk there because they were like, we're finishing up the preview or the teaser. And I knew they were going to get it out, but it was awesome because they kind of timed it the same day. And then they launched their YouTube channel, Mini Garage. They also launched their Instagram page and so on. And that the preview was awesome, and then they have since launched the first episode. So it looks like they really got some heavy artillery, so to speak, with some great editing. They're going to have some really good content. So it was cool to kind of sync up with them. And, we played a little bit of the Sir Mix-a-Lot song for, a little bit of a nod up there, as you guys know I love to do, for the Northwest, so to speak, with Mix-a-Lot coming from the Washington area. So it was pretty cool to sync up with them, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. And definitely looking forward to seeing. I know they come out, like you said, came out with the first episode. Definitely looking forward to seeing what else they come out with. And definitely go out and support those guys. They got the merchandise out. So, I just seen some hats coming out. And I know we got some of our merchandise to support the Mini Garage on its way. So definitely look forward to supporting that and showing our support for sure.
Yeah, real deal. And just search Mini Garage on YouTube, and based upon what you guys are listening to right now, you're probably going to have a similar type of, likes, if you will, on YouTube. So the good old Google search engine will land you right on their page. They actually have 737 subscribers, so that's damn good. And basically a 2-week period to launch something with a preview, and then biggity boom with the first episode. And then you'll even see there right in the I call it the caption, the write-up, if you will, of the episode. They have our lifestyle, the podcast.podbean.com, and that's where that's one of our landing sites for Podbean where you can listen, of course. But, we partnered up with them, and we'll continue pushing it. So give them a like, give them a follow. Now, Mike, as we move into the general updates, this is brought to you by, of course, our friends at HammerDWeekendWear. It's simple. You can visit HAMMERD weekendwear.com or click the link in their Instagram bio. You can find them on Facebook as well. But if you go under the pre-sale, you'll see that they have those 2 new shirts out there, including the cranberry shirt. Really kick-ass artwork. You've got Graham Hancock, his awesome Titan. Love the title. Got the East Coast, West Coast kind of in there. Built by Jimmy's Rod and Customs, and then perfected, if you will, from a paint standpoint from Cal Concept. So go out there, support the real deal, $20, or you can jump in for $250. That does include those 2 new shirts. You buy the whole year subscription, then you get all 12 of the shirts, the flagship product that will ship out to you automatically in the black color. And then I think you also get the sticker that matches the shirt. But cool stuff there. So, Mike, really kind of just wanted to see if there were, we talked a little bit about the holidays, but just in general, how we usually kick it out here. Anything in general that you want to share with the Airhead Nation and all the listeners?
Well, of course, I want to talk about my Mazda. I mean, shit. I keep getting more pictures from Profab, Ryan, and dude, the guy is absolutely knocking it out of the park over there, and definitely getting it done a lot faster than I expected. and I say faster, but at the same time is absolutely doing a great job. And I just look forward. We got all the parts in, and he's putting them back together. And I can't wait. He's going to start cutting into the bed here soon to make the bed work and fit. Now that we redid the ass in there, and I can't wait, dude. I'm getting excited. It's been a long time, and it's been a long time coming for sure. So, like I've said before, if you guys are in the market and you need somebody that can bag your truck, bag your mini truck, full size, you name it, Ryan over at ProFab can definitely do it for you. So make sure you guys check him out over there at ProFab. Now, you will not see no pictures. I had people, saying, "Hey, I haven't seen no pictures. I haven't seen them posting. You're not going to. There's pictures have been sent to me. I talk about it on here, but you will not see any on social media until it's done."
Yeah, and rumor has it that ProFab, you can follow them. It's PROFAB Florida on Instagram. Rumor has it, he built like a whole box around your truck and nobody can see it, and there's cameras and like 24-hour surveillance and all that. And I guess you're going like full stealth mode, meaning that if anybody takes any photos, like you've kind of laid down the line like mafia style, and you're like, "Hey, we're coming for you."
Well, the thing about it is basically I've got little lasers that are on these cameras that are surrounding it, and as soon as it senses a picture is being taken, boom, it snaps them, and that laser just right through them,
right to your phone. iPhone 11, Willie, totally just done.
Well, see, it's got the new iPhone. It's got the new, the 3 cameras on it, and one of those cameras is actually a camera that's just watching my truck at all times.
I love it, man. You guys we kind of like to make little funny jokes here and there, and that's our funny joke. Ha. So follow ProFab Florida.
I know these guys are like, man, what a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah, they are. They're like speeding through this part, but they're good enough to work on the homie. If you follow him, it's NCSTATIKX. Go out there and follow the homie. Big supporter. You got Todd from Negative Camper, Florida. And then, of course, that's Tim there. But, Todd's the brother. And they're good people. They've been around the mini truck scene for a long time. And then Todd Zilla, his bro, is on, you could type in on Instagram. It's just type in TOD and then it's ZLLA. That's Todd Gilbert. But Tim's truck is over at ProFab, that badass Toyota. I know we're going to be seeing it here at including Mini Nats from what I've seen with his posts. So we'll talk a little bit more about Mini Nats in a few minutes. But go out there and follow the good homies from NC Florida, the brothers. Well, at least Tim. I know Tim's still rocking with the NC. I know Todd, he kind of dabbles a little bit in trucks, but, go out there and follow the homies. They're very active, and they're good friends with the homie NC Randy, the crazy NC Randy. He's always got the people's elbow to the scene, so big ups to them. But next, Mike, well, really from a general update standpoint, for me, before I get ahead of myself, not a lot to really share, just kind of dealing with some family things and always kind of working through all that stuff, so that's all good. Had a little bit of hiccup. I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago with the Lincoln. It kind of sometimes is one of those things where you go, man, can just something good happen? And, there's a lot of good that happens. And then, when you have one little hiccup or something that, maybe doesn't go your way, I've kind of learned to say, you just shrug it off and don't even think about it, and you just keep moving ahead. There's much more things to worry about in life, so I'm kind of waiting. Did talk to the trans shop again, and we're going to get that thing over to get some hiccups worked out, but more on that. I'm hoping to finish up the next Lincoln Attic podcast this week. I know I've been kind of saying that for a couple weeks, so this week should be the week that we get a new episode out, hopefully by Saturday or on Saturday. So more to come there. But Mike, next we got the podcast updates, and this is everything related to our lifestyle, which we refer to as Our Lifestyle Podcast, or OLP. This is brought to you by our friends at the West Coast Influence. Yes, we are a mini trucking inspired podcast, and if you love mini trucking as much as we do, you must own the mini truck film, and it's simple. You just go to minitruckfilm.com, and that is Radar Hendricks, Todd Radar Hendricks. We had him on recently. If you're a new listener, go back and listen to that episode where we talk about the West Coast Influence. He paid himself to produce this documentary-style movie. When you go to the website, you'll see a real cool kind of trailer. A lot of that video was provided by awesome people in the scene. They have a custom Hot Wheels. They have the Blu-ray. They do have some shirts. You really got to kind of dig through the sizes because most of them are sold out, but they have stickers and whatnot. So give them a follow on Instagram, the West Coast Influence, and let them know that Our Lifestyle, the podcast, sent you when you make the purchase. So, Mike, you and Mrs. Mayer did a fantastic job shipping out the shirts, the minis on the rise, or mini trucking on the rise, so to speak. So thanks for getting all those out, homie.
No, absolutely. And obviously, you say thanks to me, but Mrs. Mayer is definitely the one that she is the one that takes care of majority of that stuff. I'm pretty much the one that packs it up and then just throws it, at the post office in the blue boxes and make sure it gets the right boxes to get shipped out the next day.
Well, it's a team effort.
We definitely owe a big thank you to Mrs. Mayer because she's the one that makes it happen.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, and you guys knocked that out. And we have great people out there like James White of hashtag Mini Movement. That's all spelled out. Just type in hashtag and then Mini Movement. He bought a shirt. He posted it up. He was probably one of the first guys to get it. And contrary to what people say, it doesn't take very long to do a pre-sale, is what I call it. You basically, we work very closely with Brant and the team at Graphic Disorder, and it works very fluid, if you will. We kind of understand their timeline. We get our artwork. We do the pre-sale. We tally those numbers in a nice spreadsheet with a nice bow on top. I know they love that. And then when we send that over, they, they'll give us a timeline. And what they said was, and we mentioned this recently, they said, hey, more than likely we're going to be able to get to them by Christmas break. We can't guarantee, but that's what we're looking at. And then biggity boom. So that worked out great. And then, Mike, we literally had shirts in hand before the end of the year. So, all of the I's were dotted, all the T's were crossed, and that worked out good.
Oh, absolutely. And like you had said, that's what happens when you work with the best in the business.
Real deal. I got 2 words for you. Cha-ching. I just love how that, that works, and we appreciate them. But speaking of that, we have new stuff in the works. So, we're going to get into that January timeframe and move it into February. So look for some things that come here. We got the pedal stomped, as we always say, coming from 2019 into 2020. And we've got some big things. It's easy to always say that, but we've really set the bar high for ourselves this year. So more to come there. And then the one thing I'll add is, we said we were going to do this last year, and I'll be honest, we didn't meet the mark. And I love being able to look back and say, hey, what did we do well? Where do we got to get better? And one thing that we got to do better, and we promise to bring some audio to you guys soon on this topic, if you will, is have more ladies on. Like, there's so many ladies in the scene that really rep hard from east to west, country to country. You mentioned Jasmine earlier as an example, but we've got some ladies that will highlight, some that are big into building stuff, some that are into building brands and working with others. So really looking forward to that.
Oh, absolutely. Because like we always say, because the ladies are definitely on the rise.
You real deal. The mini trucking ladies. So shout out to all the ladies out there and the wives of the husbands and girlfriends, if you will, that really support their loved ones and, go to shows with them and contribute. So really looking forward to what we have in store for 2020. So, Mike, next we got the Airhead Nation updates. This is brought to you by our friends at Colorado Custom Wheels, also known as CC Cycle Wheels. It's simple. If you want more information on the baddest billet wheels on the planet, you can visit coloradocustom.com with no S. It's Colorado Custom. Or on Instagram, follow CC Cycle Wheels. That's their kind of motorcycle wheel division. From everything from billet steering wheels to one-off wheels, the best in the business. Michael and team, give them a follow, give them a shout out. But Mike, this Airhead Nation update, it's kind of a fun one, man. I want to give a huge shout out to Jay Church. We recently had Jay on this year. It was a really good episode. We talked about, the Tahoe, the Cadillac connection, the C10, and so many great things. But when I synced up with him at, gosh, man, I forget if it was Downtime or if it was, one of the other shows. I
think it was the Orlando Memorial Cruise, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it may have been. And I think you're right. And he was like, man, dude, these bikes are bringing back the memories. And we were talking about, I have the pink Mongoose in '85, and he was talking about his early days and bikes and stuff, and we kind of hit on that a little bit. But the homie had texted me the other day, and he's since posted some photos on his Instagram as well as Facebook. Yep. And dude, he's in the game. Yeah, he's back in the game with some Crew Jones, man. You see that?
Yes, I did. So now it's time for he's going to start redoing it, repainting and building and parts and the whole 9 yards. So yeah, I tell you what though, man, he seems a little big for that damn bike. That's all I'm going to say. He might have to lay off on the do a few less reps before he starts getting back on that bike though. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I tell you, it's kind of funny because we see these bikes and we love them, but when you get on one and you're kind of our age or our height, you're like, damn, dude, like, you got to move the seat up pretty high and you feel like you're ET, like pedaling your ass off, try to, get off the ground. But, dude, there's no doubt that he's going to be able to pop wheelies like no tomorrow, man. Maybe do a tabletop. I want to see it, man.
Hey, I just hope he doesn't fall backwards and then just give up on it. And if he does, hey, just go ahead and send that. I'll give you my name, address, the whole 9 yards. Just send it my way, and we'll work something out.
Yeah, big shout out to the homie, dude. Really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with the bikes. I know he's got a couple that he's added to his fleet. Then I know he's going to be dabbling probably back in the motorcycle game. I think he sold his one bike recently. So he's kind of had a lot going on. Love syncing up with them. And I'm quite certain we're going to see him here pretty shortly at all these different shows we'll be hitting.
Yeah, because I know he was dabbling there for a while when he went to Turkey Rod Run about if he was going to get into the truck game again. I wonder if he made that purchase. Did you hear about that?
That I don't remember seeing.
Yeah, he was on the fence, and I know there was some old school C10, and then there was a Tahoe. So I'm wondering if he did it or if he's still waiting to see make that decision.
So real deal, man. So big ups to Jay Church, repping NC Florida. Okay, next we got social media. What's hot on social media, I should say. Brought to you by our friends at Garage Gear Clothing. Love some Garage Gear Clothing? You can visit garagegearclothing.com. The great thing about this brand is they have a plethora, yes, I said a plethora of different goods from C10s to wagons. Love that new wagon shirt. They also have kid sizes. They've got the new Garage Gear logo keychains with the Phil-built machining work done. When you go to shop, you'll see everything from shirts, hats, women's, yes, youth, and accessories. Visit garagegearclothing.com today. Order something for one of the homies or chicas, or just splurge on yourself. Buy a couple things. Let them know that OLP sent you. They have things as low as like $5, I think it is, with their lanyard. So big ups to the homies over there. But, Mike, this one's a little bit of sports, and I know, some of you guys are going to cringe and go, I don't want to hear this, but it's a great topic. So, the playoffs, I can't say it as good as Jim Mora, Mike, can I? Playoffs.
No, I don't think anybody can.
It was the epic meltdown. So, here's a question. Last weekend's the playoffs. You got the wild card weekend. You got Saturday AFC. Sunday you got the NFC. And here's my question to you. The Saints, right? Did they get screwed? I want to hear this from you, Miggity Mike the Mayor. Did they get screwed on the final play of the game? Because I believe this is the third straight playoff game where they were eliminated in the final play of the game. Can you believe that?
I can not believe it. And me personally, no, I did not think they got screwed because they were both battling for the ball, both hand checking each other and back and forth. But by the rules, that was pass interference. It did not get called. Do you know during that 3-year stint where they've gotten, defeated in the third straight playoff game, they have won more games than any team to not go to the Super Bowl with 38 games.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes. See, that's why, Mailman Mike, listens to damn NFL all damn day while he's delivering mail. If he's not listening to our lifestyle, the podcast. So I hear these damn facts. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't have got mad if they called it. I wouldn't have got mad if they didn't call it. And they didn't. And Minnesota goes on to win. It was the biggest. They were the biggest underdog of the week as well. And so it was definitely a shock. And unfortunately, I did lose that in my playoff poll.
Playoffs.
So I did lose that game. Playoffs. And so I only went 3-1. And if the Saints would have ended up staying on and winning that game, I would have went 4-0 for the week. But unfortunately, Minnesota won and I lost. So 3-1, and waiting for next week for the more playoff games.
Yeah, dude, man. Well, my take was it too. Like Maddie and I were watching the game, and I wasn't necessarily rooting for one particular team. I'm always looking at it from the Packers standpoint, like what team might be easier, what team might be less of a threat. Like to me, like Drew Brees is just, legendary. Some of the records he has, and I mean, he's just he's a guy that like, dude, you can never bet against him, right? But then, I look at like, okay, well, maybe the Vikings would be easier. And I knew if the Vikings won, they weren't going to play the Pack anyways. So then I'm going, okay, well, who's going to be the best opponent for the Niners? Because if, and anything could happen, if a team could knock the Niners off, then, if the Pack, if they win, then boom, NFC Championship goes through Lambeau. So, how like a true sports fan, we're playing all those different angles in our head. But when I saw it live, I was like, it's the normal. They're fighting for the ball and things like that. You see it in slow-mo, and you go, man, he did push off. And to your point, I had the same take on it, that when I saw it, I was like, they're fighting for the ball. It wasn't much enough, if you will, to call it, at that point in the game. That's the NFL stance that they took, right? Because they apparently did review it really quick, and they said, nope, game's final. And then you heard them come on and say, nope, it's done. Because I was thinking, oh, my God, could you imagine? But I think from a rule standpoint and from a fan standpoint, it's. I mentioned this before. I mean, there's plenty of times in the game to be able to win a game. You don't have to win by like, oh my God, the last second, right? So it's hard to say, hey, it came down to the one play. But what we're kind of seeing is the inconsistencies with the NFL, and that's one of the tough things. I mean, with the game and with 4K and with just slow-mo and all this stuff, it just makes it so easy for us to analyze it. But, for Tony Dungy, of all guys, I mean, just a real clean-cut guy, always goes right down the middle. He was even adamant that he's like, dude, that should have been called. So, the NFL just has to continue to get better. I know there were people already cringing on who the officials are going to be in the Packers game this weekend. And it sucks. You don't want to look at the officials like at the beginning of the week and go, oh, God, we got that guy, We just want them to call the game and be fair and not have to lose a game on one particular play. But in my opinion, it is what it is. It wasn't enough to call it real time, and, that's just my opinion.
Well, hey, Jay, we better stop talking about this because we're going to lose all 19 of our listeners.
You real deal, man.
And we've worked really hard for all 19 of those.
Yeah, I was hoping we got to 20 this year, so we'll see. But
Not yet.
Next, we got the show schedule. This is brought to you by our friends at All Time Low Magazine. If you go to ATL, just like Atlanta, it's atlmagazine.com. You can go ahead and purchase a shirt, and you can also subscribe to this awesome print magazine. I continue to see people like, oh, man, I miss Tailgate. Man, I miss Mini Truckin'. Guess what? All Time Low Magazine is all of those magazines combined, okay? There's not as much, I'd say, nudity, right? But there's plenty of trucks, which is what I kind of call truck smut, and it's just as good, if not better. And I've even seen some comments recently where people say, dude, I just got the new ATL, and when I compare that to like Mini Truckin', some of these older issues they're collecting, they're like, dude, it's way more jam-packed. And it truly is, because it's by people that are in the scene, and they're closely connected to that scene, so they can put out a really good product. And by you guys subscribing, it helps them determine how many issues they need to ramp up to. So if their year-over-year numbers are higher, then they know, hey, this is how many we're going to print and automatically ship with the subs. This is how many few extras that we're going to order. So atlmagazine.com, and hook them up, or hook yourself up with a subscription. But, Mike, a lot of times we don't get a chance to really both go through these because, we kind of have these a little bit further in the episode, right? But I think here we're also going to kind of bleed into the scene updates because, these first two shows that we're going to talk about really have, the first three, I should say, there's really been a lot of news about two of them. So why don't we start with Mini Truck Showdown, okay? Mini Truck Showdown. Well, I say this, okay. The first two of the 5 shows we'll talk about. Let's leave it there. But with Mini Truck Showdown, you guys heard recently Corey came on and talked about it. So, Mike, with this show, it happens to be the same weekend as your show on the East Coast. So why don't you talk a little bit about After Dark, and then I'll hit on a little bit more with Mini Truck Showdown.
Well, you know what? Since Corey has done such a killer job, why don't you go ahead and start with Corey's show first? Because it is on the West Coast, and, hey, West Coast is the best coast, right?
Real deal. I like that, Mike. I like that tie-in. And what I'll say is this. If you guys are in California, or maybe you're in, the Portland area, you're in Oregon, wherever you're at, maybe in Vegas, and you go, you know what, I'm going to drive and take my ride. I believe the pre-registration has ended, but I think he was going to maybe kind of extend it just a short period. You want to go to Mini Truck Showdown, search Mini Truck Showdown on Instagram and Facebook. What you have here is basically a traditional mini truck style show. It's the second year. So 2019 was year one. Now we've got February 13th through the 16th. You can also visit minitruckshowdown.com and find out more information. Now, as of right now, we are scheduled to be there. It's going down at the Kern County Fairgrounds. And you heard Corey talk a little bit about the shirts are available. Many of you guys are like, oh, give me a shirt when you go to a show. This is an epic shirt in terms of artwork. You got Fiction Fab that's involved as well. And you got Brad's truck on it, the Excursion, I should say, SUV. And then you have NR Carl, his epic S10 painted by Cal Concepts. So get out there, give them a follow on Instagram. Let them know that OLP, that you heard it here. And then, Mike, as we move in to your point a moment ago, with it being the same weekend, I know you got some big updates for After Dark.
Well, absolutely, brother, and definitely appreciate you giving me the spotlight for a moment. And so, first of all, I just want to thank Jason Feldham. He has finished our one of our giveaway decks, skate decks, and absolutely knocked it out of the park. And then this year at After Dark, we are going to have a new game, and it is the Wicked Beer Pong. And pretty excited about this because we changed from doing the cornhole, which we had a great response. But we're just going to switch things up a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we'll do cornhole and pizza back at the hotel after the after party. So we'll talk about that later. But like I said, we're going to do the top 25. Welch's Chop Shop just knocked out the top 25 for me. He's doing our best ofs. And then we're also just got done knocking this out yesterday is we are going to have a Anthony Strong Memorial Award. And Chad Luke is actually making that up for us right now as we speak. And I got the permission of his, from his father and his mother, and they will be there. And so I'm really looking forward to see what Chad Luke comes up with. He sent me some designs of what he's thinking, and should be pretty badass. So definitely looking forward to that one. But basically, it's real simple. We got the guys. Registration is going to start at 4, and so as soon as that parking lot's full, we're done. Clubs roll in together, they park together. We're going to have the DJ there. DJ Kevin Sutton is going to be there spinning the ones and the twos. And we're going to have lots of vendors. And basically, we're going to have a bunch of giveaways as well. I already got giveaways from Viair, where we're going to have dual packs to give away. Lowrider Depot, our boy Max Dooley is hooked us up once again with some more, the Viair compressors. So we're going to have plenty of Viair compressors to give away. And basically, you're going to get raffle tickets. And with these raffle tickets, you're going to get them from the vendors. Go support the vendors. You're going to get more raffle tickets. So it's real simple. I believe it's every $10 you spend, you're going to get a raffle ticket. And so the more money you spend with the vendors and support the vendors, the more raffle tickets you have for more chances to win these giveaway items. And so we're not going to do any auctions or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and do it that way. The vendors really like that, and they asked me to keep doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it. And then also the event shirts are going to be done by Drop and Wear once again. And so when you go and buy the event shirt, not only are you going to get the event shirt, but I'm more than pretty sure they're going to be $20. You're going to get 2 raffle tickets for just buying the event shirt. So there's your chances again. So just be out there. Stingray Chevrolet is going to be there, title sponsor. Feltham Fab will not have a booth, but they'll be out there hanging out and enjoying the show. And of course, Sparkles Detail will be there on site to clean your rides. So just hit up the booth, and sign up on the sheet to get your ride cleaned and all shined up for those judges.
Killer, man. Well, After Dark, yeah, you can find, if you type in After Dark on Facebook, you'll find more information. You can also follow Mike on Instagram. Just type in Miggity, Miggity. It'll pop up. Miggity Mike, the mayor. Give him a follow. You'll see some of those teasers as well.
Yes, sir. So what we got next, Jake, is I do believe our next show is one of the big boys, and we will both be there.
Yeah, real deal. So Lone Star Throwdown, and this is where we'll kind of start bleeding in here to the scene updates. But with Lone Star Throwdown, the good thing is now, let's say you're a casual show goer and you go, all right, so I saw the news, LST 2020 is sold out in terms of the pre-registration, and you got to pre-register. So congrats to them. You know, they had a very solid number that they had set. We've been talking about it for months, and they got to the goal, as they normally do, as they always do, right at the deadline. So fantastic job, Lonnie, Radar, and the entire cast of characters, if you will, behind Lone Star Throwdown. Now, with Lone Star Throwdown, it's in Conroe, Texas. It's the weekend of February 21st through the 23rd, so it's the weekend after the two shows we just talked about. Now, if you're thinking, hey, how do I support it? Well, at this point, let's say you're not bringing a vehicle. You want to go to LST, pay the fee to get into the show. The show is going to be unreal. There's going to be plenty of vehicles to walk around. It's going to take you 2 days easy if you really look at stuff. Then you're going to want to buy a show shirt and some of the other things that they have available. So we'll talk to Lonnie and Radar very soon about other ways that you can support. But go out there, have a good time. You know, even if you don't have your truck there, whether it's a Mini, C10, Lincoln, you name it, you could still go out there and have a great time. So LoneStarThrowdown.com for more information. And you can also follow them, same thing, on Instagram. Then after that, Mike, we're going to basically be at Orange Beach Invasion. So it's a couple of weeks away, 3 weeks I think it is, if you look at the calendar. And you're going to have Orange Beach Invasion, which we talked about at the top, March 13th through the 15th. This is a custom car show productions event. We've been recently posting some of the photos that we took at the event in 2018. Miggity Mike the Mayor was out there in 2019. It was a great time. We're going to have the booth set up. Hopefully, I'll be able to bring a ride out to it. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer. Really looking forward to kind of that spring break weekend away with our families, but we're also going to have fun at the show.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to that. And hey, guys, if you guys are still interested in one of these premier sections to park your vehicle, make sure you get with Greg here real quick because they are going fast. I'm trying to look here. I think he said he might have a few more left. But the premier parking spots at night, they do the light shows, and you're parked right up underneath it. Great photo ops. So just make sure you get with Greg Miller and get one of those premier parking spots before they are gone.
Yeah, and if you're looking just to do a regular registration, the cool thing is, for some reason I had missed it before, but when you go to orangebeachinvasion.com, at the top it's split between home and then a slash and then register. When you tap on register, and we also have posted this link recently, when you click that link or you go to orangebeachinvasion.com, select register, the registration package, I think they only have the regular registration online because those premier spots do go quick. So to Mike's point, if you're looking for a premier parking, get with Greg. But it is $75. Now, when you enter your name and all that stuff, you'll actually pay through PayPal. And they're very clear. You know, some of you guys are quick to go, I don't have PayPal. I don't have PayPal. That's okay. You don't have to have PayPal. The payments are processed through PayPal, so you can actually still pay. I think you can punch in like any credit card, but you know, PayPal gets their little fee, of course. You know, so that's a processing fee from on the Greg side of it. But go out there, support the real. I know Robbie Bryant is also involved from a Keg Media standpoint. And the few times I've been to the show, I've had a really good time. I would just tell you that, hey, it's a beautiful location. You're getting what you pay for with this. There's a great photo opportunity. So make sure you go out on the website. Okay. And then after that, we basically have mini nats. So, Mike, again, this is talking a little bit about the scene updates as well. But the Southeast Mini Nats, Mini Truck and Nats, also known as Mini Nats. That show, there's been
Hey, Jay, let me stop you right there, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
I think you did this to me before. We can't forget Sparks in the Park, Bubba.
Yes, you're right. Sparks in the Park. Okay. So it's funny because I talk about the show a lot on Instagram. If you type in on Instagram Sparks, you're going to see a couple shows pop up. The Sparks Show, but in particular, Sparks in the Park 850 is the handle. Go out there and follow Sparks in the Park 850. This show is April 3rd through the 5th at one of my favorite words, Mullet Festival Fairgrounds, okay? It is in Niceville, believe it or not. Yes, there is a city named Niceville. You can also go to the link in the bio is sparksintheparkshow.com. The show is going down. It's got awesome artwork. Matt's truck was also on all-time low cover for last year. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. David DeCorver and his awesome wife, they're putting this show on. So Negative Camber, Florida. Again, they're getting a huge shout-out on this one. They're great people. They go to a lot of shows. Let's get out to Sparks in the Park 850. More information coming on that and a possible cruise from the Tampa Bay area over to the Badass Show in, Mike, Niceville, Florida.
And just this is in OLP will be sponsoring the mullet contest there at Sparks in the Park.
Yeah, and what my fear is if Frank shows up, he's going to automatically win it.
Well, Jay's already started growing his out, so he's getting ready. And I've been trying for a long time, but unfortunately my hair don't grow, so I'm going to have to be a judge.
And listen, I'm being serious. No wigs are allowed, so you can't go to Spencer and buy one of the hats with the mullet on the back. That's not allowed, you know. We're going for like the riff-raff style, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about. All right, Jay, let's get to that mini nats, because I know nobody's heard of mini nats.
Yeah, nobody's heard of Mini Nats. And, you know, Mike, the kind of the scene update here related to the show is there was a lot of talk about it sold out quick. Okay, so we've been telling you guys for a while, Southeast Mini Nats is on the rise. 25th last year, Mike was there. It was insane. Look at the show coverage in All Time Low magazine and some of the other online outlets. You had Dave Schulman cruising there with his 2 rigs and so many great people. Well, guess what? It's going to be even better this year. Now, the challenge is it did sell out quick. We knew that right before midnight, 3 minutes till, I posted in the Airhead Nation group. If you're not following or you're not a part of that group, you need to get in there because we said, hey, there's a couple things happening. You had LST ending with their pre-registration. You had Ron at HammerDWeekendWear dropping the 2 new shirts. And then, oh, by the way, you had the pre-registration opening up within minutes of the clock striking midnight Eastern time. So my old ass went ahead and went to bed shortly after that, thinking, hey, no big deal, right? So when I woke up, I went on Twitter, kind of checking the news, Mike, and then boom, they had a tweet that said 1 hour and 22 minutes. And I was like, well, this was like hours ago. Like, was there a problem with the website? Was there, what is this? I'm trying to decipher this code, right? So I go to the website and I'm like, it's saying there's nothing available. I'm like, oh, they must have had a problem with the website, right? Because my old ass went to bed. Well, the 1 hour and 22 minutes, Mike, that was how long it took them to sell out, which is like unbelievable. 700 registrations in less than 90 minutes. Congratulations.
That is absolutely awesome. Because to me, that means that mini trucking, which never was, but it definitely is not dead. And I know that's your favorite saying, Jay.
It is, man. It really is. And, it hasn't been dead. That's kind of like, when hip-hop, when they go, hip-hop's not dead, it's like, yeah, it's not dead. It's not dead. It's not buried. It's not in a coffin. It's not 6 feet deep. So the only thing I can tell you is go out there and type in Mini Truckin' Nats all together on Instagram. You can also follow the event, which is really where it's going down on Facebook. Mini Truckin' Nats is going to be off the hook, so you're going, okay, well, I can't get in. Guys, it's okay. Ladies as well. You can still go to that town and have a damn good time. The only thing that I ask, and we're going to reinforce this over the next few months, is, man, just behave yourselves. Let's not ruin. Many truckers have never ruined anything, right, Mike? We've never ruined shows or trucks or anything, right? But seriously, let's not ruin this opportunity that Jason Bell and his team have been able to put together. This show, I haven't been, right? It's epic. Mike told you that last year. Let's go. Let's act as responsible mini truckers and have a good time. There's plenty of stuff we can do. We'll talk to Jason more about that. But please go there, respect it, respect the town, respect the opportunity that we're going to be given to really have a damn good time. So get out there and follow them. There's going to be more about the shirts and all that stuff to come. It's presented by AccuAir. You know, when they're involved, it's going to be on fire for a good reason. And you know, it's just going to be a great weekend. So we're really looking forward to it. It's April 24th through the 26th in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. You guys should already know that. Spread the word. Let the homies, chicas, everyone know it's going down for real, Mike.
It's going down for real, as it always does.
And then we are going to kind of jump a little bit into May now, right? So even though we're about 4 months out, we want to start kind of dabbling around with another show that's partnered up with us. So we have really, we have a couple shows in the month of May that we're really looking forward to. But Made of Steel show, Mike, is a show that is basically the next show that we're going to be attending after Southeast Mini Nats. And that's May 15th and the 16th, 2020. So you guys know, you've seen it. Made of Steel show is a show that's a local show here in Florida. We call it a local show, but it gets a lot of people there. And we, every year, I think for the most part, except for last year, because I was at Relaxin' in the park, St. Louis, I wasn't able to make it, but Mike was there. It is a great show. We want to host a little cruise over to it, so we're going to be talking about that as we kind of come up. But what we ask is go out there on Instagram and Facebook, select on Facebook that you're going. Now, if you're not 100%, you can select that you're interested, totally get it. But on Instagram, follow Made of Steel Show. It's 215 Sydney Washer Road, and I say that, it's right here on Instagram, at the Hillsborough County Fairgrounds. If you check the hashtag Made of Steel Show, you're going to see that we've tagged them in a lot of photos over the course of time. And then when you hit their profile on Instagram, tap on the tagged photos right there, right kind of at the top. It's split down the middle. And you'll see a lot of the photos that we've taken, C12, he's taken over the past couple of years. Great show. Mike, I know we always have a great time there. And the only part that I don't like is when I want to go maybe eat lunch, if we're going to go on an off-site, if we don't decide to stay with the vendors. One year we were going to go get barbecue, and you were like, you were just busy talking. I was like, Mike, we want to get to Mission Barbecue. What's going on, bro?
And I tell you what, I'm sure glad I did, because that Mission's Barbecue is off the chain. So definitely, and this year, guys, we will be there. We will have a booth set up, and we are going to have a OLP skate deck award, and we're going to try to find a mini that is definitely on the rise. And of course, our boy Jason Feltham always keeps it real for us and hooks us up and makes us a killer ass deck to give away. And we look forward to doing it again at Made of Steel.
Yeah, real deal. And I kind of joke about the Mission Barbecue because Mike loves that place. The good thing is there's plenty of vendors. I think there's one of my favorite vendors. They do what are they called? The lemon deals, like the cups. And dude, it's always hot in Florida in May. And they've got covered parking. They even have an AC. Get some Freon poisoning. They got a nice section in there. And I tell you what, Mike, on a hot day, it is awesome to go over there and get one of those, what are they called, polar ice cup deals? Man, they are so good.
Yes.
So good stuff. Made of Steel show. Just know there's a lot more coming. Big ups to Tank and Goat, as he's referred to, the homie. Big ups to them. Let's get behind the mini truck scene and show our support for one of the awesome shows in the Tampa Bay area. So, Mike, that brings us to a few more scene updates. These are quick. Street Trucks 2020 February cover. That was announced. If you go to streettrucksmag.com, you'll see that the cover is revealed. So check it out. It has a really cool patina Ford on it. Something a little bit different. So that's pretty cool. And I know Brian Good over at Grinder TV, as well as Lowlife Mikey, have been really steadily putting out new content on their YouTube pages. Grinder TV and the Lowlife Show. Check them out. All right, so Mike, drum roll for all you Christmas vacation fans before he goes to plug the lights in. Hopefully our lights light up, Mike, as we plug in the 2 extension cords. But the 2019 year in review, can't make this fucking shit up, can we?
Yeah, you ain't lying.
We did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, though, and they're not even sponsors, right? 2019.
It was much better than that Motel 6.
Hotel, Motel, Holiday Inn. 2019 year in review. This is what you guys have been waiting for. That's the title of the episode. So, Mike, let's kick this off, man. It was a hell of a year. Wouldn't you agree?
Dude, absolutely, no doubt. And I look forward to 2020 even more, baby, because it's going to be even bigger and better, especially for OLP and the scene.
Yeah, and speaking of 20, it's crazy. I went to a lot of shows this year. I went to a lot of in-state shows and a lot of out-of-state shows, and we had a really good time, so we'll talk more about those. But, Mike, I want to kind of start off with this one. It's a little different. Like, maybe what was your favorite memory related to the mini truck scene in 2019? There's got to be something that maybe sticks out to you, maybe more than something else.
Well, obviously, one of the memories that really stuck out to me was probably meeting and for the first time actually going behind the scenes and seeing a photo shoot there at Maggie Valley. And, of course, I got to meet John Moore and see Lo Migo for the first time in person after he has done his magic and brought it back to life, and then go and see the behind-the-scenes shoot for Lo Migo and the Looks at Kills there on the side of a mountain in Maggie Valley right before it got dark and right before it got really cold, and then, of course, cruising around with Josh Ellis there in Maggie Valley and up and down the strip, and especially there when it got dark, because as soon as it got dark, it got cold. But, dude, it was a hell of a weekend. It was a long ride, drove straight through 14 hours. But it was well worth it. And definitely anybody that, was complaining, bitching, oh, it's sold out. Guys, it happens every single time. Okay. All these different shows, just like LST right now, all these guys, they bought all these registrations, they registered, and now they can't go. So just be on the lookout for those same stuff. But guys, come out there, have the vibe there is awesome. The show is awesome. Just to be able to be there and hang out in this town that just, caters to all the mini truckers and that just come in and just take over that whole city. And the city is just open arms, man. It is great. It's awesome. And so come up there and experience it if you haven't already been there. And it's not like any other show you're going to go to, that I promise you. And Jason Bell and his crew, absolutely, they roll the red carpet out and they do a great job. So get out there, experience Mini Nats for yourself. You definitely will not be disappointed.
Yeah, awesome memory, dude. Great show from all the coverage. I mean, many of us that weren't there, we were sitting at home going, man, dude, there's no way. I can't believe I missed it. Man, I'm going next year, and we will be there. Well, my top memory from this year was at a show that I had such a good time at, and I mentioned it earlier. It was the Sparks Show. So if you just type in the Sparks Show on Instagram, you can also tap on that icon there where it shows you all of the photos that they're tagged in. That's important because we tagged them in a lot. We did that real-time show coverage, and we had a damn good time. But the memory that stood out to me there was when Nathan Coker of Coker's Rod Shop, he put together Jennifer Lacey Award, and I know that it was unveiled there. There were a couple of other hands in helping as well. I think he was very clear. And on one of the posts, he mentions this, but I want to just give a huge shout out to Coker's Rod Shop. Follow them on Instagram. If you go back and you look at the photos, we did post it. It mimics Chick's Ride, which is rest in peace Jen Lacey. She's one person that we lost in the scene last year. And it was a very, very cool award. If I remember correctly, Kate Simpson won that award, which I thought was awesome. And the video that we did, I think, was the live video. So you may not be able to go back and watch that, so to speak. But you will see, if you look back in the photos that they're tagged in, we tagged them on August 10th. The Spark Show there at the Sevier County Fairgrounds, great people. So, Mike, that one stood out to me.
Absolutely. I really look forward to going to that show this year. Definitely seen a lot of pictures Obviously, when you came back, you talked about it. You talking about it just made me want to go back to it. And of course, Tim and Tanya with Sparkles Detail, they go every year and stay at that lodge, and that lodge looks like a damn Disney resort up in the mountains. So, definitely got to check out the Spark Show this year for sure. Looking forward to it. So next on the dock, Jay, is show of the year. So let's start it off, brother. Talk to us.
So show of the year. Now, keep in mind, this is solely based on our experiences, right? This is not, we haven't been paid to say these. This is just based upon our opinions. And Mike, I'll start it out. Now, I'm going to say this. I hate to do this, but it was a tie for me. And I know you're thinking, how could it be? I'll give a quick explanation. I thought through this 10 different ways over the past several weeks, and basically I just couldn't pick one. It's like saying, hey, if you have more than one child, which child do you love the most? You always love, both of them the same, right? Equally, you should. So relaxing in the Northwest, The Awakening.
Oh, damn.
And relaxing in the Park St. Louis. Now, the reason why I say the Awakening is basically, Mike, it was everything else that I baked into that trip, okay? It wasn't just an awesome 3-day run. It wasn't just awesome RA. That whole entire family club, got behind OLP, and they just took care of us. Everyone from Karen Moore to helping us out with some lodging deals, all the way down to just the team, man. Justin, Ron, all of them, right? The food aspect, everything they did, but also being able to go to Astoria and do all that stuff. I mean, and then Ron was the icing on the cake. We did the boat tour down the river, which I'll talk more about here on an upcoming episode. It just is an unbelievable show. Relaxing in the NW, which is Relaxing in the Northwest, The Awakening. And then, Mike, I tried to slice it down the middle, and I couldn't. And I said, dude, Relaxing in the Park St. Louis, because, I mean, Busch Stadium, the awesome food downtown, seeing the Arch, going to Anheuser-Busch. I mean, there was so much involved. And then, oh, by the way, two more key things with the show. One, they had to overcome the whole venue being flooded. They kept the nose of the plane up, and they did a fantastic job. And then, Mike, oh, by the way, a lot of the money was donated because it's a nonprofit. So it's like, how can you go against that? It went to the Children's Hospital. So, I mean, look, there's a lot of shows. I didn't get a chance to make it last year to like Orange Beach Invasion, one of my favorite shows, and Scraping the Coast, which is always on top for me. But I wasn't physically there. I was physically at these two shows, and I tell you what, man, I was blown away, Mike. So those are my two picks. And I know it's supposed to be one, but, it's our podcast, right?
Hey, we can do whatever the hell we want to do. And with that being said, you brought up Orange Beach Invasion and you brought up Scraping the Coast. I was at both of them, and they're my favorite shows every year because I go every year. And if you ask my wife and my daughter, Orange Beach Invasion, hands down, is their favorite show, not only because of the vehicles, because sometimes they can really care less about that, but right there on the show grounds, I mean, well, shows downstairs, upstairs, they go get massages, they go get facials, they go get their nails done, they go to the spa, they go shopping. The restaurants are all right there. The freaking the coffee shop in the morning, it's all right there at Orange Beach Invasion. We rent a condo, you can't go wrong, and it's freaking awesome. I absolutely love it. The night show there, the light show at night, the Ferris wheel, the movie theater, it's all, I mean, and like we said earlier, it's not just about the show, it's everything else around it. And actually, if you ask my wife and my daughter, they're ready to move to Orange Beach Invasion. And of course, ever since we went to Orange Beach Invasion, moved
Orange
to
Beach, Alabama, right?
Alabama.
But they said it's going to be an invasion when they get there, is what they told me.
Exactly. So, which that possibly will be happening sooner than later. But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Are they going to say "arr" like a pirate when they invade?
Arr, exactly. And then, of course, Scraping the Coast. You brought up, always love Scraping the Coast because just everything that goes into Scraping the Coast, the Freon poisoning. How can you get wrong?
Oh, dude, that Coliseum, bro.
90,000 square foot indoor building. I mean, you can't go wrong there. And, of course, we talk about, you say nonprofit. No, there's a profit made, but I can tell you this, they also take care of people. They helped raise, I think it was close to $10,000 last year. And, for some families, to help them out and need. And, I think that goes, unseen sometimes and not talked about. But Greg Miller and his crew do an awesome job in helping the scene and helping people in the scene that are in need. So that's also another great thing about Scraping the Coast. But I do have to go with my favorite show from last year, 2019, Mini Truck Nats. Absolutely love the vibe, dude. The vibe is just unlike any other show. It brings me back to the old Show Fest days, and I just absolutely love it. So the mayor's pick is going to be Mini Nats. And, one of the main reasons is because I got to hang out with a lot of cool ass people there, and they know who they are. And I got to hang out and go to dinner with them. And sometimes I really don't get to hang out with those guys because usually they're putting on shows. So it was good to hang out with those guys and just all the mini trucks that were there, because it is the biggest mini truck show in the United States. And so mini truck Nats, hands down, was my favorite show last year.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is, when I think about East Tennessee Showdown and the Spark Show and Sicknick and all the other shows that I went to that were out of state, they showed us so much love. And like East Tennessee Showdown was a one-day show. Like if we were saying, hey, what was our favorite one-day show? Dude, East Tennessee Showdown, right? Then you have someone like the Spark
Jay,
Show.
That's wrong. Jay, what the hell? I threw a one-day show, Jay.
Right,
on my side.
I know, dude, but they had the People's Elbow straight to After Dark, bro. They had liquor. Listen, they didn't just have liquor; they had moonshine, dude. So you can't go wrong. You know what I mean? You
dude,
can't.
moonshine slushies. I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
Yep. Well, and I just want to hit on this. Although we're going to be at Scraping the Coast for OLP this year, that same weekend, we are still working to be represented at East Tennessee Showdown. So more to come on that, but just know that we will be at I'll get a chance to go to Scraping this year. I didn't get a chance last year because of our yearly vacation. So really looking forward to Scraping the Coast 2020. Much more to come, including, I hope there's going to be a concert, dude. I'm hearing about this concert. So let's see if
I can't make no announcements yet. It's not signed deal, but there are some big announcements to come for Scraping the Coast.
It's going to be huge.
Stay tuned. Oh, yes, sir.
All right, so our favorite covers. This is a little bit different, too. You guys probably haven't heard this spin. So we're going to do two things. Favorite street trucks, favorite all-time low. Now, I wrestled with this decision a lot. With street trucks, my favorite cover of 2019, you can Google, image search, street trucks 2019. But my favorite issue, you guys know, Minis on the Rise. We had an awesome issue. It was the June issue. It had the S10, the nighttime shot. And then you had Josh Ellis. He also was on the top of that issue with a killer feature by Burrell Images by Brandon Burrell at Burrell Images. So what a rockin' cover. And then Mike, for me, All-Time Low magazine, I went back and forth on this one. On street trucks, I was thinking about going with the Aftermath, the nighttime shoot, but I had to go with the Minis on the Rise. With All-Time Low, I went back and forth between Matt's Nissan. Love that rolling shot cover. But for me, it was the Crew Cab Nissan owned by Damian Davis. And the reason being is the cover featured an Xterra, Justin from East Tennessee Showdown, his Mitsubishi, Josh Ellis' 720, the Rad Mazda, and it had Import Invasion. And it really had a fitting cover. Everything just flowed really good. And Damon's Crew Cab is on the rise. Damian's Crew Cab is on the rise. So big ups to those. I don't know if you want to chime in there, Mike. I know you were thinking about maybe hitting on this too.
Well, since you did that one, which it's okay because great pick, but I'm going to go with my favorite. I say my favorite Blazer of all time. And this all-time cover was labeled Heavy Hitters and Hellblazer. Holy cow. I love it. And I'll be honest with you, I've only seen it in person. I'm sorry, I've only seen it in pictures. I've never even seen it in person yet. But that's still, I can't wait to see it actually in person. And also on the back cover, we got Nick the Saint. And this was at Scraping the Coast, is where he finally got it done. His full-size short bed, big-bodied beauty, and it's tucking eights. It's absolutely beautiful. Loved it. And so I'm going to go with that as my all-time favorite. not just the front cover, but the back cover as well, Jay.
Hit it on the backside.
On the backside. And not only is it my favorite cover, but that's also my favorite pullout as well.
Hells yeah, brother.
Because don't forget, All Time Low magazine, they got pullout posters.
Real deal, man. Love those issues. So thanks for chiming in there, Mike, as well. And again, you can actually follow Al, big supporter, as we mentioned in the past, but it's Hellblazer. If you just type that in on Instagram, and then it ends with 11772, Hellblazer 1177, actually 2 sevens, 11772. Give him a follow. Good dude, repping Severtise, New York. Okay, so
absolutely,
Mike, we come to the final and the last pick that we're going to do for 2019. Now, this one's a little different. We're actually going to do an award for both of these, and we're going to see how we're going to ramp this up this year. But we're going to do a physical award for both of these picks. We're going to do the OLP Mini Truck of the Year and the OLP Old School Mini Truck of the Year, okay? And I think this is very fitting. Let's go ahead and start with the Old School Mini Truck of the Year. Now, it's ODB, and I'm going to jump in here for just a minute and make you guys wait just a little longer for those two picks, if you will, for 2019. Now, at the end of the audio here shortly, you're going to hear me kind of say, hey, I'm going to cover a couple more things. Well, I'm going to cover those items now. They're very quick overall. And I did just mention, you heard about the awards, so we want to give a huge shout out to Welch's Chop Shop. If you are a show promoter, and you've heard this time and time again from some of the guests that we've had on, if you're a show promoter and you need awards made, get with Welch's Chop Shop. Just how it sounds, you can type it in Facebook or Instagram and hit him up. He's really good at designing the award. He'll custom cut them. He also does the powder coating as well. And he designed a couple of awards. We gave him a few ideas, very much like Graphic Disorder. You kind of give them those ideas, what you really have in your mind, and then boom, they make it happen. So Welch's Chop Shop, huge shout out to him. And wanted to kind of make sure you guys knew that those awards were done by, say it with me, Welch's Chop Shop. He's always on the rise. Now, the couple things that I also wanted to reinforce with the shows that we talked about, we are going to have those show promoters on to talk about those. And when we talk about our website, ourlifestylepodcast.com, when you go to that website, it's about the same path, whether you're on the computer or your Android or iPhone device. But when you go there, you can basically, you want to actually navigate to, on the computer, you have to actually scroll down to the bottom of the website. But on the phone, it's a little different. You kind of click out or tap on the fly out menu, and you'll want to scroll down to where it says official OLP show calendar. And once you land there, you're going to see a hyperlink that says click here to subscribe to OLP's show calendar. When you do that, it's going to ask, do you want to allow this page to open calendar? And when you do that, you're basically subscribing to our iCal, which is our digital calendar. And I say that because when you start thinking about the shows that we have coming up, and we kind of hit on those, there's a lot of information that we throw out there. But if you just kind of subscribed, you'll basically have that visual of all of these shows right there on your calendar. And if you're planning something else and you want to filter it so that those aren't on there, you just simply tap on calendars, and you can toggle that on or off for very ease of use. But basically, we have After Dark, which we talked about, and then we have Orange Beach Invasion and these other shows mixed in. But I also want to kind of reinforce that with Made of Steel, it's smack dab in the middle of May. And as far as I know, there's really nothing else going on that weekend. The really cool thing was that last year, Relaxin' in the Park St. Louis, it was that weekend. And it's like, man, it's tough when there's two shows in the same weekend. But this one with Made of Steel show is basically the weekend of the 15th, 16th, that weekend. So if you're going to come in early, come in on that Friday, and then you've got the show. It's going to be kick-ass. But then we have Small Town Throwdown. We'll talk more about that. That's the following weekend, the 23rd. That's also in Florida. And when we jump back into April, it sparks in the park. Now, what I did notice today was Big John had announced the picnic. And if I remember correctly, his South Florida picnic, which is a huge hit, it's been on the rise. We went to it last year, had a great time. I think it's going to fall on that same weekend. So just know the Panhandle is like almost like another state away for Florida. I mean, it's way over there. But we're going to be at the Mullet Festival Fairgrounds, as we talked about. So just want to kind of reinforce there's a lot of events. And then in the mix of all that, you also have Mini Madness, which is going to do Doing It in the Dark. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But, man, I'm just telling you, between RA, which is going to do, they're going to do the RA show, which is basically Relaxing on the Ranch. That's the last weekend in the month. You've got another show that's going to be earlier in the month of February. I mean, you just got a ton of stuff going on. So if you go out there and you subscribe to the calendar, you'll see a lot of these dates out there, which is going to make it a little bit easier for you. The only reason I reinforce all that is you can't sit at home, especially if you're in Florida or Georgia or the Panhandle of Florida or maybe even Louisiana. I mean, there's plenty of stuff going on, so get out there and support the scene. The only other update that I have right now are just the customer reviews is the way it's basically listed on Apple Podcasts. I'll go through about 4 or 5 of these. Then we'll go back. You'll get a chance to hear who won the 2 awards. We're going to make sure that they get those awards. And then I mentioned at the beginning we were going to try to sync up with Brad Bozeman. Brad has the Badass Excursion that was on the HammerD weekendwear.com shirt. We're going to sync up with him, which we did make happen. And we have his audio, and he traveled all around up into Canada even. And you guys, I would say, stick around, listen to the audio. It's a lot of fun syncing up with him. He's a passionate dude. Then he tells you about a big challenge that he had after Relaxing in the Northwest, the Awakening. But so let's start off here. If you have an iPhone, or let's say you're a big Mac user and you have the Apple Podcasts app, you can leave us a rating, and that's where we read these from. But I went in just the other day. I took a screenshot. And let's start with November 26th. I don't think I read this one yet. An excellent look behind the scenes, 5 stars. This was by Star and then GYLE. Finally, a show that gets the build stories in first person, full detail commentary. Great format, so thank you. May have covered that one before. Seems familiar. If we did, oops, we covered it again. Negative Camber approved. Randy with the People's Elbow coming from the Orlando area. Randy, NC, Florida. Prior guest, Real Deal Holyfield. Great job. Very informative. Mini Truckin' Podcast. It's chocked full of active members and never will be compromised on content. Keep it up, ODB and the Miz Air. So, dude, Randy, he's very active in the scene. He's got a couple sets of old school wheels and stereos and all this stuff. Dude, this guy's like a fiend. If there was a hoarder show for mini truckers, dude, he'd be like episode number 1. Big ups to the homie Randy. He's real deal, and he'll never compromise, his actions. That guy's all about it. Okay, next we got something for everyone. Can't go wrong with show trucks, BMX, and hip hop all on one platform. Thanks for putting this together every week. Oh, yeah. This is at BROEY. So, dude, go out there and follow him. He has the raddest, I'm going to borrow that from Ronnie at C10 Talk. He has the raddest C10 out there. Big ups. I appreciate you listening, dude. And thank you so much, man. Happy 2020 to you, brother. Keep the Mongoose C10 on the rise. Love that truck. All right, next we have The Shiz, another 5 stars. All these were 5 stars. Great podcast for anyone, especially mini truckers. And that's from Uncle Luke 704. Man, it sounds like we got 2 live crew chiming in too. So big ups, Uncle Luke 704. Dude, certainly appreciate it. We have worked very hard over the last few years, but we love doing it. So thanks for everyone that continues to chime in. And Ronnie with OBS Talk gave us a huge shout out recently. So thank you so much, Ronnie. Go out there. He now has that on its own separate deal. So it's pretty simple. They won't really kind of cross-pollinate, so to speak, with C10 talk and OBS talk. They're totally separate. If you love trucks as much as we do, check them out. I think that we have picked up some followers because of his shout-outs, and we certainly appreciate that. So Welch's Chop Shop, big ups. Want to also reinforce Custom Car Show Productions, and the next event is Orange Beach Invasion, so you guys heard that at the top. More information coming with their show that he works in connection with Sean Randall. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We're hoping to make it up to the Hank Aaron Stadium this year, so we'll talk again more about that. And then Sparkles Detail. Big ups. You can visit sparklesdetail.com, and it's even easier just to be at a show and have them detail your ride with those awesome Croftgate products. Now, when we kind of mixed the scene updates with the shows, I did kind of miss those sponsors, so I wanted to make sure I got that in. So from everyone from All Time Low Magazine, Colorado Custom Wheels, HammerDWeekendWear, the West Coast Influence, Garage Gear Clothing, Lone Star Throwdown, Feltham Fabrications. Yeah, oh, by the way, check out Feltham_Fab on Instagram and Facebook. He's just another example of putting out awesome products. He's doing a great service. He's helping out Miggity Mike the Mayor for After Dark. And if you want custom graphics on your mailbox to your vehicle, you name it, you can hit him up. So, again, a lot of good people. It's Feltham_Fab on Instagram. Loving those awesome cups. The one recently, Monkeying Around, so awesome. Go out there and check it out on Instagram. All of these vendors that have continued to kind of partner with us, we appreciate it. It's going to be a huge year. With that being said, I think you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk, so we will roll back into the audio with Miggity Mike and myself. Hopefully you guys are rocking with us on our picks, and thanks to those that also helped us with these picks. And after that, we'll do an intro song into Brad Bozeman's audio. And again, stick around. We'll hit you guys. Hopefully next Friday should be the next episode. It's going to be a bombshell. Cannot wait. ODB, enjoy the weekend. We got you. Peace. Mike, I'll say this. If we were to start this in 2018, hands down, Josh Ellis would have won. He had so much love with that truck at a lot of shows. He also carried that love into 2019. What we did with this one is it was really tough. Josh is kind of a friend of ours. He helps us with the podcast, and we appreciate all of his efforts. He's done a lot for us lately. With this one, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and let you announce it. This guy re-debuted a truck that had the pedal stomped. He was featured a couple times, including in a national publication, and he even gave us a huge nod by putting the windshield banner for Our Lifestyle, the podcast, on his amazing SUV. And who was it, Miggity Mike?
Hey, did you do that drum roll, please?
Let's plug the lights in now.
Dude, John Moore Low Migo is our 2019 OG OLP pick of the year.
Dude, Low Migo, Rob Rodell, man, all the people that were involved. I think it's Ryan that works at Count Customs, the famous TV show. Dude, this truck, almost 20 years to the month, boom, lands on a cover. You can follow John on Instagram. It's actually Low Zuki, 1 L-O-N-E, Low Zuki, Z-U-K-I, or just type in Jon space M-O-O-R-E. It should pop up. He's also on Facebook, dude, but he also got patched into Bonsai, and he just had a hell of a run, Mike, from everything from All Time Low, just like Josh did with the Look That Kills, but he also had a huge uphill battle to really bring that thing back from the ruins. Josh has done a great job with his truck, and again, he carried that success from 2018 into 2019, but we really thank John Moore. He parked in our booth at East Tennessee Showdown, and he just really did a fantastic job, so big ups to him.
Absolutely, and probably one of my favorite, let's see, it was in Street Trucks, and refresh my memory.
Angel Dooley.
Angel Dooley, thank you. Probably one of the favorite features I've seen in a long time in Street Trucks. That was absolutely beautiful what she did with Low Migo there in Street Trucks.
Oh, yeah, and he's got the nod to, rest in peace, Sean Mahaney on the front tag, so Very, very cool stuff, and we appreciate his support and really what he does for the scene to bring back this awesome truck. Now, Mike, we got the final drum roll. So we're going to continue this on Mini Truck of the Year for 2019. This guy pulled no punches, and we're going to hear from him probably on the next episode. Believe it or not, we're going to hear from this guy. And Mike, dude, I don't know how, what else to say. Mini trucking has continued to evolve over many years, and we've seen the likes of just some of the baddest trucks ever built, and this one's probably going to go down in history as one of those. And it's not from someone that you're probably thinking. We actually went worldwide with this one, and we actually got a vote. The way we did the vote is we had Greg Miller from Scraping the Coast and all of his shows with Custom Car Show Productions. We had Ruben Arteaga, Biggity Mike the Mayor, myself. And then we also got with Josh Ellis, right? So that was another reason why Josh couldn't win the other award, because he helped us vote on this one. So we wanted to keep it fair. And what we did was we came to a unanimous decision. So, Mike, I'm going to ask for you to give out this person's name. I'm just messing with you, man, right? I mean, I don't think I could say it either.
Hey, I was asking you. I was just hoping you didn't ask me to spell it.
So the easiest way I can say his Instagram is Take Shit Suka, TAKESHIITSUKA, Takeshi.
Hey Jay, just say pink Toyota. Everybody in the world is gonna know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, this truck is amazing. Amazing, and I haven't even seen it in person. It's on the Custom Trucks mag, the cover. I'm waiting for my issue from Chuck Healy. Dude, amazing truck. Congratulations. Dude, we are worldwide. One of the photos posted there, the dude's even wearing an Are You Low Enough from All Time Low magazine. Dude, worldwide, this truck right here is on top of the game, and we so appreciate the people from everywhere from Japan to Australia, everywhere in the U.S., Canada. We've got a worldwide presence, but dude, this truck right here is straight worldwide, and congratulations to him.
You ain't lying, and so that pretty much wraps up 2019 for OLP, and definitely want to give a big shout out to the whole Airhead Nation for all their love and all their support, and we definitely look forward to 2020. Only going to get bigger and better, baby.
Bigger and better. I love the hashtag Mini Trucks are still cool, so check it out. That's Chuck's page. And Mike, I think we'll kind of wrap up our audio here. I will cover, before we roll out to our final song, I'll cover a couple things, which isn't a lot. It's mostly the reviews. We've gotten some good ones in through iTunes, which is now Apple Podcasts, so I'll talk about those. But, Mike, thanks for kind of rocking with me. Thanks for the votes. It was great to be able to link up with everyone and really be able to cover this 2019 year in review from a mini truck standpoint. So big ups to everyone out there.
Absolutely, Jay. And hey, Airhead Nation, with that being said,
we at you until next week. We appreciate y'all. Peace.
Road tripping with my two favorite allies. Fully loaded, we got snacks and supplies. It's time to leave this town, it's time to steal away. Let's go get lost anywhere in the USA. Let's go get
Yo, so as I mentioned at the beginning, we were going to try to get with Brad Bozeman for this episode, and it did work out. So all the planets aligned, and just wanted to kind of say, hey, Brad, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. I'm glad to be back after, it's been, almost 2 years or something. I was on episode 38, and now we're at 160 something.
Yeah, it's been about 120 some odd, but we put the pedal to the metal in 2019, really trying to keep up with someone like yourself, dude. We said, we got so many guests we want to get through, and Mike and I said, the only way to do it is to really put out one a week, and it kind of seemed like we were trying to kind of keep up with you, because I tell you what, we slapped hands last at Relaxin' in the Northwest, The Awakening. I talked about that show earlier in the podcast. It was epic, but dude, just how would you sum up 2019 for you in terms of all the awesomeness that you kind of had?
It was probably one of the best years. I mean, as far as road trips go, just the different shows I try to make it to, and then it wasn't like a point A to point B. I've done those in the past where I went to like LST and it was just like point A to point B. There wasn't a lot of stops. Like I had, a trip to, was it the show off this summer, and we made a stop in San Antonio, and it seems like every time I go through Texas, I get hail. So we made a stop in San Antonio, and there's a storm that rolled through, and of course, a little hailstorm while my truck's, sitting out in front of a, bed and breakfast while we're cruising around San Antonio, checking out the Riverwalk and everything. It's Texas, I mean.
Yeah, you're looking at your pride and joy outside your family, and you're going, oh man, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, it's in the middle of summer. The next day when we're at the show, it was like 90 degrees, and we're about to pass out with all the humidity. And it hailed the previous day. It's crazy, but I guess in Texas, like, they're probably used to that sort of weather. But I didn't think that was something that was going to happen. I was afraid, LST weather. It's cold in February. That's when you're going to get hail.
Yeah, yeah.
In the middle of summer.
It is kind of crazy how it works, and one of the things Mike and I talked about it, like having someone like yourself on, is like you had a lot of journeys during the year, and this is a perfect time to sync up because we're doing this best of 2019 and kind of highlighting some of the big things that we saw. But we synced up, like we have in the past. I mean, you go to a lot of shows, but is there like one particular show or road trip that maybe sticks out to you in your mind? Because, dude, for those that don't know, Brad Bozeman drives his body dropped excursion all over the country. Really, I think we can officially say all over North America, Brad.
Pretty much. The only place I wanted to hit was Slam Fest, and that would pretty much complete my, like, every single coast, So it's definitely on the list to make it out to your parts. I don't know when I'll be able to do that because I still have to, brainstorm and put together a plan for my truck after the blown transmission.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about that, just, because since you brought it up, you went through, and we'll hit upon maybe one of your favorite shows in a minute, but you went through this really long, season, if you will, of going to a lot of shows, but, you did have the hiccup, I think, right after Relaxing in the Northwest. Talk to us a little bit about what happened, because I think you were several hours from home, and then you had the challenge.
Yeah, that was Relaxing Northwest. That was 16 or no is that's 1,300 miles to that show. So 1,300 miles there. That trip, not eventful. Got to the show, had a good time at the show. That was a really fun show. Like the nightlife and everything. Like usually on 3-day runs, sometimes I'm back to the hotel and everything at night, but I actually got to enjoy that show a lot. But anyway, on the way back, I made it all the way to Bakersfield, where the Mini Truck Showdown show is. Made it all the way to Bakersfield, and then there was some construction, and I had just filled up the gas tank. So I took a little break at the gas station because I saw a lot of traffic. I'm like, all right, I'm going to fill up the tank. It's going to get me home, because from Bakersfield, it's like 8 hours away.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, let's just fill up. I'll be able to make it on the full tank. Anyway, I get back in traffic. There's like a little issue with the fuel when I fill it all the way up. Like, I don't know if it cuts something off, like a breather or something in the fuel cell, and it was cutting out and dying. So I kept having to restart it. And then instead of letting it die and keep starting and, sort of maybe the battery could go dead, I'm like, I'm going to keep it revved up a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm revving it up a little bit in traffic, and dude, it was forever. So I was just.
And that's at night, right? This is the middle of the night,
yeah.
like kind of.
Well, okay. It's almost midnight, and traffic in California, Bakersfield, it was still like a mile of traffic.
Oh wow,
jam.
Dude, California sucks, right? But in for the listeners, you're solo, right? You're rolling by yourself.
Yeah, luckily this trip I didn't bring my wife and kids, so luckily when I finally broke out of traffic, I felt it. It didn't want to get into the next gear. I was doing like 12 miles an hour. I'm like, please come on, let's go. I'm 8 hours away from home. And it was right before like the Grapevine. I think that's what it is, through like the mountains and everything.
Okay.
So I'm like, let's go. Let's get to next gear. Get to next gear. So I was, giving it some gas. No, that wasn't working. I kept giving it gas, and then boom, the whole truck shut off. And I pulled aside, and luckily it was, after the big traffic jam, so traffic wasn't really up to speed when I was like at the side of the road. They were still all in the far left lane because that's where traffic was diverted to.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily it was a halfway decent area where traffic wasn't zooming by and having semis, kick
Sure.
rocks and everything at me. So I was pulled off the side. I looked on my phone, found the nearest tow company, and at midnight I'm calling this guy, and he had done his job for the day. He was ready to go home, pack it in for the night. And I'm like, I need a tow all the way to Arizona. He's like, all the way? Are you sure you want to go all the way to Arizona?
Yeah, and you're like, dude, I need to get my shit home, my rig.
Yeah, I think, what was it, like $5 a mile or something outrageous. But it was in the middle of the night at midnight, and I was like, dude, I just need to get home. That was the whole thing.
You're tired. You're in this long trip, and like some of us have been close to home, and we've broken down, and we're like, damn, I just want to get home. But like you're really like, I need to get home. Like you're like, dude, I'm far, and you want to get back to your family and stuff. So like, what did he end up doing?
So he ended up towing me to Blythe, because he didn't want to cross the border because apparently there could be issues with him from California towing all the way into Arizona. So right before, he crossed the border into Arizona, he's like, I'm going to drop you off at the truck stop. And that was fine because I had already gotten a hold of Todd at Lowboy Motorsports to pick me up and drive me the rest of the way home. So he was my savior for the last 2 hours of the trip.
Wow, so that guy went 5 or 6 hours to get to Blythe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
wow.
And like I said, he picked me up at midnight, and, me and him, we had a just great conversation about everything in life, because I was trying to keep awake because I didn't want him to stop.
Yeah.
And, we're stuck in the middle of California, and he, needs to, stop and take a, couple hour nap or something. I wanted to, get home, like I said. So, we talked, had good conversation. I kept him awake. I stayed awake, even though, I had been awake the whole day at the show.
Uh-huh.
And then, I was trying to get home. It's like, it was supposed to be only a 21 hour, only 21 hour drive.
I could sense your sense of humor. Yeah.
Into a lot more. So I was up, for, I don't know, over 24 hours straight. And he got me to Blythe, and, it was $1,500 for however long, how many ever miles it was. It ended up being $1,500. So paid him. He's like, thanks so much. Can I post this up on my website and everything? I'm like, yeah, it's his, it's one of the cooler vehicles he's gonna tow, so
yeah, you're like, I don't care, man. I want to get home. So I remember reading a little bit about like when you posted. I think what's the guy's name from Lowboy Motorsports? I forget. Todd, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Todd.
So what was cool is like he did a lot of work on your truck. Now, obviously, this challenge doesn't have anything to do with his work, but you guys had forged such a good relationship that he was like, yo, what do you need, man? Like he's one of those kind of shops that goes, dude, you're my customer. I got your back. I'm coming to help you.
Yeah, he went above and beyond, and like basically he was in charge of the truck the whole way. Like he did a majority of the body work. He did the suspension. He did all the stuff as far as the engine bay relocating stuff. Like the only stuff he didn't do was basically the interior. So he was in charge of it, and whatever he couldn't do, he helped me find the right guys to do it. So yeah, he was the mastermind behind the truck, and he's one of the reasons why I've been so comfortable driving it across the country, because I'm so confident in his work, and he, stands behind his work.
Yeah, definitely. So, check him out. If you guys go on Instagram, type in Lowboy, and then you'll see it pop up, Lowboy M, and then Sports. So it's kind of like shortened there for Todd Burton. He's got about 13,000 followers. But dude, so obviously, you had that one hiccup, and the few times you and I chat back and forth in text or a little bit before we recorded, we talked about, we all kind of have those. Like I'm kind of going through one right now with my car, and it's like, hey, you just devise a plan, like you kind of said at the beginning, and you figure it out. But going back to maybe earlier in the year, I mean, you had this damn good run. So what would be like a show that maybe stuck out to you, whether it was the show aspect or just the cruise, the journey, if you will, to get there?
Well, probably the cruise would be the Canada show. That's about 1,600 miles one way, and we hit up a lot of national parks, and that trip was going north. It was through a lot of mountains, and like I didn't take it easy through any of the mountains, so I was probably driving it pretty poorly, probably overheating the transmission. And because we hit up Zion National Park, and that's where I got a bunch of cool pictures. I would, if anyone's coming from Arizona or down south and can hit up those national parks, I would highly suggest it, especially Zion. Zion was beautiful. We had a hotel there that night in Zion because I planned out the whole trip, right? I like okay, we're gonna hit up Zion here. We're gonna stay at this hotel. There's a subway nearby here, so it's
right.
I figure out like the food spots that are because you don't want to eat somewhere and then your next 5 hours you're hitting every gas station
every
because
nasty gas station.
you had some bad food, and then that's going to totally kill your trip. So I'm like trying to find a McDonald's or something or the Pizza Hut. We're at different locations. So Zion, we stopped. It was one of the more challenging trips because usually I'm point A to point B. Like going to LST is like boom, I just wanted to get straight there. Like Battle in Bama, just wanted to get straight there. There were no different places that I want to hit up and visit. But this one is like every day we had it planned out. We're going to drive 8 hours and get here, 9 hours, 12 hours, get here. So driving through Zion, it's a beautiful national park. So I got a lot of cool pictures there.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying?
No, I was going to say, what was amazing is Graham Hancock had taken a bunch of us to that area, and I would have never thought, if you would have told me 5 years ago, hey, we're going to take you to Zion, I would think I was going like the Middle East somewhere or something, right? But dude, I'm so thankful. He goes, yo, it's a couple hour drive. I think he said it's like an hour, and it took 2 hours or some shit. And I'm just kidding, but dude, from his place, like it was mind blowing, wasn't it, man?
Yeah, so did you go through and do any of the hikes or anything?
We didn't do that. We went to this little city, and there were like little places to eat, and he goes, you got to eat here, and then we went in these places and looked at photos and stuff. But dude, it just was, bro, like I always said I want to go to more national parks and stuff, and I'm glad that was one that I hit that I didn't even know I was going to hit. It was like, dude, it was that awesome,
Yeah, definitely out of the national parks that I hit up, that is on the top of the list to revisit because we did a couple hikes and they got the water running, and then they just have the huge rocks that are just towering above you, and that made for great photo ops. But the hike was also amazing. So after Zion, we cruised up, stayed like north of Salt Lake City, just in a little hotel. Like every hotel, I make sure they have breakfast, so wake up early, get the breakfast there, get the day started. We can start the day early because they have breakfast there. So then that day we started headed towards Yellowstone, and I'm like, okay, let's take the far route. So we go through like the south end of Yellowstone and then go to what is that? Old Faithful?
Yes.
Is it what they have there? And that's like in the middle. So I wanted to go through, instead of coming from the west and only seeing the west portion, I wanted to come through because we're going to go out the west portion. So came up the south portion. I don't know what I was thinking because the roads there were like straight up gravel, like big rock gravel. It was loose like crazy. I was driving like 20 miles an hour. I felt bad because, there's a line of cars behind me, but you just, as you're cruising, it's like the rocks is like, oh my God,
mentally you just can't do it. Yeah. You're like, damn.
That was nerve wracking. I think that's where I got the windshield has a little chip in it now. And also like when we got to Yellowstone, they were like paving some areas. So like there was fresh tar. So like I'm still finding little, pebbles that are like glued to my truck with the tar that was there. I'm like, what was I thinking? But it wasn't epic trip because Yellowstone was pretty cool. We saw, the Old Faithful and then a couple of different things and saw some buffalo. I wish I would have pulled off and maybe gotten a picture of Big Brown next to some buffalo, but I wasn't going to take that chance. I mean, you've seen that video where that little kid got, bucked, 10 feet in the air by the buffalo. So after that, I think we got, we were in Montana. We stopped in Montana. And Brian from Grinder TV called me and was like, okay, let's meet up at Glacier and cruise through Glacier National Park. Because that is also one of the most beautiful drives you can take. We didn't have the opportunity to do any hikes or anything like that, but we got out a couple times, and there were, parking spots and everything, which I was totally sketched out by because, I'm driving Big Brown and I'm fitting in parking spots, and there's people who are just sightseeing and going to the national park to see it, and they could have kids and just slam into the side of the doors and everything. Luckily that ain't happened, but that was one of the more nerve-wracking parts because, like I said, it wasn't point A, point B. I was making a lot of stops and in places that were really busy, and it's a huge truck. It's not like it's a mini truck or anything like that. Where, if you park in a spot, it's, not too bad. Big Brown takes up a whole spot, 100%.
Yeah, you don't have much leeway in those little lanes, right? The world's not built for oversized vehicles. It's kind of like compact only. We're like, what? So, like, you had this epic trip, and if you guys go out, if you haven't already, search Grinder TV on YouTube, and you're going to see some of the photos through what Brad's walking you through. But, like, all of that trip was to get you to, was it Battle at the Bridge?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the Lethbridge, Canada show.
So, like,
it was a really, really cool show, too, yeah.
Yeah, so you get there and you enjoy the show, and then, like, was that one of the shows that you're like, damn, I got to drive back? Or did you have the backside of it planned as well?
That was, a point A to point B trip, because I think my wife had to get back. She had work on Monday, and usually when I plan these trips, I'll take like 2 weeks off or something. Luckily, I have a lot of vacation built up with UPS because I've been working there nearly 20 years. So usually the 2 weeks isn't a problem for me to get off. So like then we, that's where I would say the third part of the Grinder TV footage is me cruising through Glacier National Park. And I had an issue going through there too. Because I was parking and laying it out and taking pictures and driving a little bit and parking and laying it out and, not a lot of driving in between. And my compressors, constantly were coming, on and off and on and off for the whole trip because I was taking so many pictures of all the different, beautiful backdrops that I had during. Yep. Yeah. So like the compressors didn't sound right, and the truck sounded like it barely started one time. So about halfway through Glacier, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if we're going to make it. And I have the whole family with me, and we're in Glacier National Park where we're up, we're going up a huge mountain. So if I had a breakdown there, it was going to be not good, big trouble with the whole family.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things in the back of your mind, because you're like, hey, I'm trying to enjoy myself. But at the same time, you're like, man, these are some potential like once in a lifetime type trip photos and all that stuff. So, and those compressors, I know, like in general, they can have a big draw. So to your point, they're constantly kicking on. You just never know. Yeah,
and let's see, because by this time the compressors are probably about 5 years old, and they have to do a lot of heavy lifting, because every time I lift the truck up, it's pretty much it empties out my 10-gallon tanks, so I have to fill them back up. Anyway, the compressors were bad because when I got to Canada, I wanted to cruise around and have a good time because during that show, they have another car show going with the older vehicles, and they had like a cruise up and down the street right next to the show. So I wasn't able to do that because my compressors would run for 20 minutes straight and not shut off. So they were shot. They weren't working anymore. And then, I had the Relaxing Northwest show a couple weeks later. So I'm like, dude, I kept it aired up, drove all the way home. Like I said, that was a point A, point B. Boom, we made it in 22 hours or something like that. Like boom, straight shot from, I think we stopped in Helena, and then we drove all the way home, that was probably 17, 18 hours. And the compressors, like I said, they were shot. So I had to get new compressors, and that's when I hit up Mike Alexander. I had talked to him at the show-off show when I saw him in Texas. I'm like, hey, just talking about maybe getting some compressors, and then lo and behold, boom, I need some now. So he got me the Flow compressors, and man, those things were great, and I could have a lot of fun with them. And then boom, my transmission blows up, and I'm like, now it's just in my garage, and I lift and lower it, and
Right.
they fill up the tanks instantly. I'm like, man, right when I get everything figured out,
That's
my
the way.
transmission blows up on me.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. It seems like sometimes in life, but you kind of power through it. Now, was there a particular vehicle that maybe you saw during the year that was like really caught your eye? Because I mean, obviously you got a badass truck, and it's people see your stuff all the time, and their draw hits the floor. But was there anything this year that stood out to you that you're like, man, that was one of my, I'm glad I saw it type deals?
I
I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
Well, this year I know it was Graham's Titan. I haven't seen it once it's been repainted, but I saw it when the interior was done and everything like that. But the previous year at Battle in Bama was that Suburban. I forget what the name of it is now, but it has like the alcohol and the gun in the center console.
Yes, yeah, the older Suburban, right?
Yeah,
the whiskey bourbon.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah, if it was whiskey bourbon, I remember seeing it at Showfest back in 2012, and it has, like, to your point, it has all the whiskey things in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was. I love seeing that truck at Battle in Bama. That was, like a big SUV, the entire interior done like mine is. Yeah, I love seeing that, a big truck laid out. That was one of the highlights was seeing that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's funny, I was messaging someone the other day about that truck, and I was like, man, I haven't seen that truck in a long time, but it probably goes to a lot of, different kinds of shows because it really fits the mold for so many different, kind of genres and shows and stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, man, that, you had all these adventures this year. You had the Grinder TV, that video, A Ford Excursion, it's titled, that came out back at the beginning of December. So like I told everyone, go out there and check it out. It's 14 minutes. It's free. You can watch it on YouTube, Grinder TV. Definitely want to subscribe and support Brian. He does really good work. I was looking at the comments earlier, and I don't know if you ever go on there and read the comments. I guess when it's my stuff, when it's my stuff, I sometimes go, man, I'm going to cringe a little bit. But I do love that, you got a lot of love. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are like, it's not my style, but man, I love it. Cool video, love the cinematography. Like it got some good love, man.
Yeah, I mean it's probably like I watched all his videos, and like mainly that's what got me to want to go to a lot of the shows is just his videos that showcases the shows. I'm like, oh wow, that show looks pretty dope. I'm gonna put that on the list to go to. So a lot of the videos that he's made on the shows I've actually gone to because I was motivated by those videos. And like the way he did my video it was a long process. He sat on like the interview, like I didn't have my beard or anything. I did, I was working at UPS and you weren't allowed facial hair at that time. And luckily they've relaxed it a little bit. And now I can actually have, a beard. So in the interview, I didn't have any facial hair. And cause that was 2 years ago, like January 2018. Is when he got the footage of my interview.
Yeah, now you're really putting it out there. Brian's going to be like, damn, man, you're putting all my, it takes me all this time. But no, it takes time to really get it all together, and make an epic video.
Yeah, I think he knew that, like, I was making all these road trips and, he got all that footage from just a few months ago when I took the trip to Canada through Glacier. So I think he knew that, he could probably get some more footage, and he had sort of told me about the Canada show, and like I said, his videos motivate me to go to shows. So when he told me that there's a lot of cool stuff to see going to the Canada show, he pretty much talked me into it, and I was back and forth with him. I'm like, what route was that again? And so he knew I was going to be making that trip, so probably in the back of his mind he's like, man, I know I can get some sweet footage of Big Brown cruising through Glacier. So that's probably why he held off and, got some more amazing footage. And it really showcases the essence of the truck and all the road trips that it's taken and what it was built to do. Like when it was in the limbo contest and you see my wife and kids are in the truck with me, that's the essence of it, is so we could take family road trips and, experience the country and have, make memories,
Definitely, dude. I couldn't have summed it up better, and you definitely have done. You've done that. You've had the awesome success, and going back now a couple years, about a month ago, it was announced that certain magazines, publications are going away. And you talk about having this epic ride, and luckily we have like Grindr TV to showcase things visually for us. But how thankful are you that you were able to grace the cover of Truckin' Magazine just a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's definitely sad because coming up, in 2000, that everything was magazines. That's where you saw the top tier trucks. You didn't see them all on social media. It was the magazine is where it was at. And it's funny, I was thinking today is like I did a state to state cruise, so I started way back with my Ranger when it was just bagged on 20s before I took it to the next shop where I was going to drop it on 22s. I made the cruise to California with my mom in my Ranger to California just to come back to Arizona to go on their state to state cruise. It was something in the magazine that they were promoting. Oh, we're doing a state to state cruise to the Truckin' Nationals. And that was a show it was going to. So like I was thinking about man, I started my cruising days like way back then in the bag truck, and like I was not as good at road trips because my mother ended up driving my bagged Ford Ranger like back from California because I was falling asleep. So that's a little funny story. It was like, man, I've been doing road trips for a long time, where I started a long time ago, and trucking was the one thing that motivated me is that I wanted to, be on the cover. And, thankfully, I was on it. It's just it's sad that went away. But then like the post I made recently is that, my kids, they don't care about magazines. I took out a full stack of them because I recently had painted my Ranger white, with just basic white paint. And I was telling my kids, I'm like, okay, you can think about a design that you can each do on each side, because I'm not going to do anything with that Ranger. It's pretty much, it's headed to the junkyard eventually. So I was telling them, get some paint ideas. So I got out a fat stack of magazines. I'm like, look through them, because I wanted them, they've been to the shows. They've seen a lot of trucks there. They're into it. So I'm like, okay, get some ideas of maybe some paint ideas. They didn't get through one magazine. So I know just the next generations, it's all stuff they see on the computer or on your phone. So I knew it was coming, but it's just it's sad that
it's hard to stomach it, right?
Yeah, it's just sad that but at least there's still a couple magazines like, you're promoting the street trucks, all time low. There's still magazines out there that you get your hands on and, have something that holds a history that way. Because who knows where Facebook or Instagram are going to be. Those could all disappear. Like sometimes, like today, I was thinking about, okay, I'm going to be loading up pictures. What if that all disappears? The trucking magazines, at least you have those. And you can look back and you're like, oh, wow, this is really painting a picture of the history of trucking and everything. It's like, who knows what's going to happen with the social media stuff? It could all disappear.
Yeah, I remember reading things about, like, with compact discs, it's like really nobody knows, like, how long will that media survive on a disc? Does the disc start to wear away after 50 years or whatever? So, to your point, like when you get down to the nuts and bolts and you go, hey, magazines, vinyl albums, things like that, it's like a physical medium. My buddy and I talk about it all the time. And back in the day, I mean, I think you're a little younger than I am, but like we would go buy a CD or a tape before that, and it was like, you spent $10 or $15 and you were getting something physical, right? And what the kids now, they're like, they get a gift card and they're like, okay, I want $20 for this game, Minecraft or some of the other games that they play, right? And that $20 is like poof, it's gone, right? But at least for us, like we spent $15 or $20 and we were like, oh, okay, we have an $8 magazine. We have it, we can hold on to it, we can throw it away, we can give it to someone. So it is that mindset of how, things are changing. And it's, I remember like the payphone, people post the phone and they're like, hey, look at this, I haven't seen one of these in forever, but the times are definitely changing. And, hopefully we'll continue to have like All Time Low magazine, to your point, and street trucks. Maybe they're the last of the Mohicans and they'll be able to remain around so that we can enjoy them,
Yeah, because it's, just the ads and trucking, because I was flipping through them and there's like 15 pages of AIM or something. I think that was the company.
Yes.
That had like 15 pages stacked together with all the parts. I'm like, this is a lot of pages of ads, and that's how they made their money and everything. And now ads are all online.
Yep.
But like I said, you have that history there. It's crazy. Just flipping through is like, oh, okay, this truck. Wow, that truck came out that year, and then you go a couple years later, like, oh, it made a couple changes here. It's like, man, it was so cool flipping through those old issues.
Yeah, and it's funny because just to kind of piggyback off that is when we had the homie from Mini Truck History Project on, he talked about, he's like, oh man, it's cool how, you guys are the podcast, like you have these dates and all this. And, I've kind of built up this database of, dates and shows and issues and all this. But what happens is there's like a few websites that are still out there that luckily they're out there because it's a treasure trove of, this date, this show, to your point, whatever. But you would be, the listeners, I would say, you get it, but a lot of people would be amazed that over the years, I mean, I had hundreds of websites saved from truck clubs. I had them all organized. And, every few years I'll go, I'm going to go on my favorites on the computer, and I click, and I'm like, oh, that site's dead. Okay, delete. And then before you know it, like all of these, places where you would go to get dates or shows or pictures, they're just gone. So luckily a few of those, I mean, some of the listeners know there's a few of them out there that you can kind of go out, but even websites go away and it's just boom, once it's gone, if you haven't saved it, it's gone,
Yeah, that puts a smile on my face just thinking about, the old websites and everything. Like the street source days, and it's like, man, it puts a smile on my face. It used to be like that, and like, yeah, they're just disappearing, and it's just big areas where everyone's branched off into having their own pages. And because I went out before New Year's. My wife's cousin is Ninja. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a streamer. Ninja, do you know?
Yeah, my son has told me about him. Yeah, I've asked him one time because I heard of his name. I go, do you know who this is? He's like, oh, he's not cool anymore. I was like, oh, was he ever cool?
Anyway, I went out. We went out to a casino because he was in town, and like seeing his fame was crazy. And I was sort of mad because my truck was down, and I'm like, dude, because that's what social media is now, like, because it's all about the numbers you have out, like the number of followers and blah blah blah. And like with those numbers you can do a lot of things, because what he's been doing, he got his own shoe out now. He's on the can of Red Bull. He's a streamer that went mainstream, and it's crazy seeing his fame, like the amount of people that would come up and want to take pictures. Is like, I thought I had a little bit of clout, in the trucking game, because I had, I have Big Brown, and, I've had a couple people come up and get a lot of respect, and, had a lot of good conversations with people. But it's a whole different level when you have, our scene is a lot smaller than, the wide
like
range
gaming and all that stuff. Exactly. Like it seems big to us, but like even my son, like when he'll be like, oh, I'll be like, hey, so-and-so's got 60,000 subscribers. And he's like, the guy I watch has 30 million. I'm going, oh, okay. No wonder that guy's already retired and he's, 22 years old. But yeah, it is crazy to compare. And, so we'll have to see where it goes with the magazines and things. And I did want to hit on, too, that the listeners can go to HammerDWeekendWear, HAMMERD, weekendwear.com. And when you hover over shop and go to tees, if you go back to about, I don't know if it was page 5 or 6, you can actually go through a good amount of pages there, and you'll see Big Brown. The shirt is still out there. It looks like it's on page 3. And, he's got medium, black, or medium, large, extra large, and then 2XL. But it's pretty cool, like when you think of the success that you had, and we talked a little bit about this when you were on, but you have this epic truck, you had a lot of magazine coverage, you had the cover of Truckin', then you had the shirt, which is really an honor to be on a Hammered Weekend Wear shirt these days, and you get to a point where you're like, dude, like, man, the truck has done and seen it all. I know you want to kind of get it back on the road, but do you foresee, like, are you a normal guy that might have all that success, goes, okay, I'm on to the next one, like, I'm going to keep it, but are you going to build something like an older truck, or are you, you might just be content. Like, what's your mindset right now going into 2020?
Yeah, that's true. Like what you said, as far as like, I feel like I have accomplished pretty much all the goals I had for the truck, is, getting the cover. And then, then from there, I actually went to a large majority of the shows that were on my lists, and had a lot of fun doing that, and made a lot of amazing memories, met a lot of people, made a lot of friends. I mean, if I had unlimited money, because I think Cole Decker brought up if you had unlimited money, what would be the 5 vehicles? I saw this on Facebook or something he posted, and that got me thinking. I'm like, man, I'd build a Chevy dually so I could get in the Chevy scene and get all the Chevy fans to look at me, because that was like case in point. You were saying some of the comments on my Grinder video, like someone said, "Oh, I'm a Chevy guy, but that truck's pretty cool." So in order to get some of the Chevy fan base, I would build a Chevy dually. I'd finish my Ranger. I would go all out, to keep the minis on the rise, right?
Yeah, brother.
So I'd finish my Ranger, and then I've had some really dumb thoughts of possibly lifting the Excursion. Because we've seen that in the past. We've seen that in the past, right? Where you go from lifted to lower to lower to lifted or something. You've seen those trucks.
Like Ahead of You before. Was the mini truck that went, and he did it for like one show, and it was like, what?
Yeah. Case in point that it has been done. So I'm like, I've had some of those thoughts in my head, like, man, should I lift it? I mean, if I had unlimited money, sure, I would, lift it, and then, I'd probably get tired of it, and then, lay it on a different frame or with new wheels and new setup and stuff like that, probably. But, I definitely had some different thoughts as far as doing a Cummins swap on Big Brown, redoing the engine bay, because case in point, like I said, I probably still have 50 of those rocks that are glued to, my engine bay.
Oh yeah.
From that road trip. So, just clear that out, clean it up. Cause that was one of the issues that like Checkmate, right? That truck, that Tahoe, which I know now it's not in a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I know it's been like sold off, and like the engine has been separated from it. And the main thing about that truck was the engine is what really sort of set it apart. And I think that's where Big Brown really had its weakest point was, I had a stock engine. Of course, I had a cool engine cover. But if I did the Cummins swap, I mean, I could set it up to tow. I can clean it up, make it real nice. Like, what is that? Michael Sneed, that is the dually owner. He has that Cummins in his dually, right?
Yeah, I believe it's Michael Sneed, yeah. Oh, yeah, the blue one, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like that engine looks, immaculate. So if I could do something like that in Big Brown, that would, the weakest part of the truck, I could upgrade and bring it to, the level of the rest of the truck. So that's, and then if I do that, then I'm like, okay, now do I want to do another front end swap? Whatever comes out next. Do I want to, try to throw that front end on it? So then you're getting down, snowballing again, $50,000 again with new engine, transmission, front end, new paint, on the front, and then I'm thinking about, okay, do I, do more on the interior, because people have made comments, oh, it has a stock steering wheel. Okay, so then do a complete custom dash, new door panels. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it is. And I think like, you kind of do what makes you happy. Because to your point, I mean, there's always going to be the naysayers, and it's always like you almost want to comment back and go, oh, you don't like my truck? Where's yours? Well, I don't have one. It's like, so, to your point, it's kind of like you do what makes you happy. And, you might get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, I want to build something, to tow behind it. Or you want to build something to tow it. It's just it's good that you're in a position where you have the my buddies and I say this all the time. You're in a position where you call your own shots. You know what I mean? Like you've done it. You've done it all. Like what we kind of talked about. And nobody's gonna spend your money except for you. You know what I mean? You and your wife. So if you decide you want to go to the next level with it, boom, that's your call. But you've earned the right to be able to say, dude, I'm in the driver's seat, so to speak, right? And you're going to do what you want to do,
Yeah, and, just like you, with Bada Bing, I may take, a year and survey, the land and see what's going on and, build up some money, get enough, together where I have more options instead of just, okay, I'll just Band-Aid it here, Band-Aid it there, whatever needs to be fixed. Sit back, see what happens, enjoy the scene without, having to take my truck there and clean it and everything like that. Just go to shows and have a good time instead of, getting the truck there and then cleaning it and, watching it the whole time and, making sure, every spot's, clean and getting the hood up, just going there and enjoying the show.
I totally agree, man. And that's what it's about. But the good thing is you have had that opportunity, like when I saw you at Relaxin' in the Northwest, the Awakening, like, you still spent the time. You were solo. You were cleaning your ride. And it always looks great. I know that, you probably get a lot of people dropping their jaws. I mean, you brought it pretty much clear across the country into Canada. Eventually I think we will see you in Florida. I have a feeling one of these years you're going to do a road trip with Graham from out your way over here.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, he actually sent me a text. He's like, "Oh man," because he asked me what I had planned for it. I'm like, "I don't know." Like I told you, I may, sit back for a year and, get my money together. And he's like, "Oh man, I was really hoping to have those road trips because he's basically going to take my spot because he's, taking the road trips in the Titan right now. So good for him. It's his time to shine. I'll let him, take the reins that I've been doing and." He's going to make memories like I've made memories these last few years. So it'll be cool to see that. That's for sure.
Definitely. It's kind of the changing of the guard, the handing of the torch, if you will. So cool stuff. But, dude, it's been awesome chatting with you. We talked a little bit about the truck and the Grinder TV video, as well as, obviously, the Hammered Weekend Wear shirt and some of your travels. But, is there anything else that you wanted to share with the listeners, man?
Well, I've had quite a few people come up to me and, say I, motivated them or inspired them to, maybe get their truck roadworthy and for them to start taking it on trips. And I love to hear that because, like, I was looking back at the shows I've gone to. Like, I went to Rezo, and now Rezo isn't going to be around anymore. So it's like, get your stuff ready, take it out on those road trips, or just set it up, put it on the trailer, and get to the shows because you never know when they're not going to be there. And another show, I went to Sun City Showdown in El Paso. That was a day trip. I think it was like 400 miles away. It was a 400 miles, usually, about 6 hours. I did that in a day. So a day trip. I left real early to get to El Paso, 6 hours there, went to the whole show, drove 6 hours home, day trip. That's the same thing that I did the Mini Truck Showdown and that was even further, 500-mile trip with the whole family. Left early in the morning, 500 miles, 7.5 hours there. Did the show, drove 7.5 miles home in one day.
Damn.
So like Sun City Showdown it wasn't this year, so they didn't throw it again. So like get out there, make the memories, do the road trips. Enjoy your vehicle that you spent so much money on. And like I said, some shows, they may not be there next year. So you might as well get there and enjoy them while they're still there,
Yeah, most definitely. You got to support the scene in some way or another, whether you're buying clothing or, if you can get out to a show, or maybe you just turn the turnstile at a show by going and paying the entry fee, like whatever your deal is, get out there to your point. So,
well, yeah, because the thing with Rezo is, I heard he was, really disappointed that 130 or something showed up. So like if more people would have shown up, it may have continued, but just with the lack of support, that just disheartened, him wanting to throw the show again, so everyone really, anyway, they can support the show, but I mean, you have to get a vehicle there in order for the show to be a success, really,
Yeah, you definitely have to, and that's, we try to promote, a lot of the shows because it's, it's a situation where, we don't see a lot of young kids kind of getting into this. I mean, we kind of talked about the younger youth earlier, but so it's one of those things where if we can, even if like in Florida, we have a lot of shows that are getting ready to come up. We're going to be at the RA show. We're, we're going to go and do as much as we can because, it's important. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Why don't you also give out your Instagram name for those that haven't followed you yet? I know you post some pretty cool stuff out there.
Yeah, I'm. This time, since I'm not going to be out and about, and I have probably hundreds of photos. I'm just going to try to post one a day. Just memories of the different stuff that I never posted. and see if I can get, a few more followers and people watching the truck. So when it gets rebuilt, eventually, then I'll have, a few more eyes on it. So it's AZ Draggers, as is in Arizona, because, from Arizona. So AZ Draggers with a Z at the end. Instead of an S, it's a Z. So AZ Draggers is the Instagram name.
Yeah, go check him out. Yeah, definitely. And when you look at the photos that he's tagged in, you'll see some pretty cool stuff. You were next to in one of the photos the Pablo Escalade, which is Kool-Aid's awesome rig, if you will. And we even had posted some photos from Relaxing in the Northwest, the Awakening, which were some kind of low angle shots and a photo we took with you. But there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and we would tell people, go out there, check it out. He's a good dude to follow, and just keep doing what you do, Brad.
Thanks a lot. Like I said, maybe you need to get that bada bing out there. Continue, or get that Lincoln going to the shows.
Yeah, brother.
Get it to the show. It's like you were talking that, that's something that you're going to be cruising around in. So I look forward to seeing you cruising that thing around.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate it, and we're kind of at a point where I want to get back out there and take some stuff, and hopefully 2020 will be on the rise, and we can kind of keep it going. But yeah, I want to cruise, man, and I can't wait to get the car going too. Little bumps in the road for me, but it's kind of like one of those things where you just you keep the pedal stomped and try to get to the next stop and on the interstate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're keeping it stomped doing this podcast, man. I'm loving listening to it because, before I didn't, I just recently got onto the unlimited data plan.
Yep.
Before I had 10 gigs or something. So now I'm being able to get caught up on all your old podcasts. So, I mean, you're doing a hell of a job, with all the promotions of the shows. I mean, you're doing your thing, that's for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Mike and I do, and thanks again. It's cool to sync up with you for the year-end review, and we'll have this audio out there for everyone to hear. So give Brad a follow, AZ Draggers, like he said with the Z. Let him know that you heard him on OLP, and salute, man, for all that you've done, and let's keep in contact, Mo.
Yeah, maybe another 2 years once I get it rebuilt, and I can do some more epic road trips, and I'll be out in your neck of the neighborhood because, like I said, Slamfest is on the list, and then we can link up again when the time comes in.
You got it, man. We'll wish the best to your family and yourself, and, man, just have a good January, brother.
All right, same to you. Thank you.
We got you.
Blue, you sit so pretty west of the one. Sparkle like with yellow icing, just a mirror for the sun. Just a mirror for the sun. Just a mirror for the sun. Just a mirror for. So much has come before, those battles lost and won. This life is shining more forever in the sun. Now let us check our heads and let us check the surf. Staying high and tries more trouble than it's worth in the sun. Just a mirror for the sun. Just a mirror for the sun. These smiling eyes are just a mirror for. Time to linger on. We three honky doors got our snake finger on. Now let us drink the stars, it's time to steal away. Let's go get lost right here in the USA. Let's go get lost, let's go get lost. Blue, you sit so pretty west of the one. Sparkle light with yellow icing, just a mirror for the sun. Just a mirror for the sun. Just a mirror for the sun.